with your host T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace, highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal. Talking premieres, where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine behind the...
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, sports fans, ATL fans, Philly fans, ew, New Orleans fans, ew, Cleveland fans. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, movie fans. Today, we are talking about James Gunn's Superman, and I feel like I have an all-star lineup. These are two dudes that I'm very close to. Directly beneath me is Mr. Dave Laparo from Cleveland. Works with me. Fabulous dude. I can't believe I just said fabulous. Really funny dude. Does impressions. Work with the guy. Absolutely insane. Just a lot of fun, and we're glad to have him. And, he and I talked about Superman a lot. We talk about movies a lot, so we're lucky to have him. Dave, excited. How you feeling tonight, Dave? You good?
Good. Yeah.
All right, man. I should have introduced you like a basketball team. At 6'2" from Cleveland, Ohio, we got Dave Laparo. And of course,
yeah, it's my exact height, actually.
I know, man. I got you. And Jordan is 6'1", right? I'm the runt of the litter. I'm 5'9". Thank you, Dad. Wherever you are, thank you. Appreciate that. My brother's 6'3". Life is not fair. He's got a beard that's envied by the gods, and I got a belly. So anyway, Jordan, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. How you feeling, buddy? You all right?
I'm doing great because you know what? David Cornswet, who's playing Superman, he's an Eagles fan. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I love it. That's why I'm supporting my Eagles, because only David Cornswet would support the Eagles. So
I don't even want to do it now. Hey, Dave, we about to go home, man. Never mind. We'll do it again. I don't even want to do it now. No, I'm just kidding. Well, hey, man, guys, we've all seen the movie James Gunn's Superman. First impression, I did enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. It was there were certain things that we're gonna get into. It was different. Okay, it was different, definitely different. But after going back and watching it a second time, I really enjoyed it. And the reason I had to watch it a second time is because silly me went to the movies and I got a digestion thing going on. And I had some food I shouldn't have had. And ooh wee. I'm not going to say I had the bubble guts, but I had the cold sweats and I'm up in there and I'm feeling like I'm going to pass out and it's bad. And those of you who know me know I'm rocking the 270. This baby is due any day now. And I just did not want my wife to have to walk up all those steps. Because my dumb ass, I like to watch it from a high vantage point. I couldn't have just came in and sat down immediately. Oh, no, I'm in the top row. So I fell asleep the first time I saw it, unfortunately. I saw like 30% of it and the credits. The credits were really good, by the way. I should know. I paid a lot of attention to them the first time because, I missed the movie. But anyway, hey, man, great movie. The second time I saw it, I enjoyed it. Dave, I know you saw it. I know we talked about it. It is different, specifically from Man of Steel. Just give me your initial response when you saw it and your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I liked it too. I honestly liked it too. I'm not I know people put all that hate stuff out online about anything that's not Zack Snyder stuff. I'm really not a Zack Snyder or a James Gunn guy. I'm just a Superman guy. I liked it. It definitely wasn't what I expected. I knew it wasn't going to be an origin story. I totally knew that going in, but it was a lot lighter than I expected it to be, but I think that's what they were going for anyway. But I liked it. It definitely had good moments. I think it really built a good villain character, heel character. Because
Yeah.
by the end of it, you
I
hated him.
hated him.
Yeah,
God, I hated him.
we'll get into that more later, but they did a great job of really, getting him to the point where you just wanted to see him go.
I just wanted him to get his ass whooped. You are absolutely right. I could not stand him. By the time it went down, man, I was in the theater like, yes, whoop his ass. Now, Jordan, I know you love origin stories. And I know you're going to take off of this movie because it didn't have an origin story. But other than that, give me your first impressions. Give me your thoughts of it.
Oh, I loved it. And the first time I saw this, it was so comic booky. And I don't mean it in a positive or a negative way. I just think it's so interesting how this felt like something out of Justice League Unlimited, the animated series in the 2000s. It felt like a normal day, and that's what made this movie so great, is that you were dropped in this world and you care for each of these characters, you care about the storyline, you care about all of that, even though we don't necessarily know who anyone really is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So for me, in comparison to Man of Steel, the colors, the use of colors were so vibrant, where Man of Steel is darker and more earth toned and more ground. There's a use of bright colors. And you said a word, comic booky, and you're 100% right. This is one of the most comic booky movies I've ever seen in my life. Like it really was. But at the end of the day, it worked. So it was just, I thought it was interesting. I really did. Now, this was directed by James Gunn, of course. This is his initial project, or his maiden voyage into the new DC universe. So I thought it was pretty good. I do have some interest about what we're going to do with Batman and or Wonder Woman, how we're going to do it, but we can get into that later. But, I did enjoy it. As a matter of fact, I think I enjoyed this more than the Suicide Squad. If you hold my feet to the fire, I think I did. David Corenswet is outstanding. Rachel Brosnahan is great. Lex Luthor, I really hated. I mean, he was a great Lex Luthor, but I hated him, which means he was a great Lex Luthor. By the end of that movie, I wanted to whoop his ass. Like, I just did not like that dude. And he was a villain, and that was his job, and that was pretty much what I thought. I loved it. Is it Edi or Eddie Gathical? I probably butchered his name, but Mr. Terrific. I really love Mr. Terrific. I thought he was great.
He was phenomenal. And what's funny about this picture is, like, if you look at all of these, the one you would think would play Lex would have been Anthony Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
But and if they were going for like a more serious, sadistic kind of version, I would have been interested to see how he would have done that. But
yeah, no, that was yeah, you're right about that. You are 100% right about that. I think wait, where's he's on the next clip.
You got
he isn't. Dude that played Green Lantern. I also thought he was great because he was a great asshole. Because make no mistake about it, Guy Grantham, whatever that iteration, he's an asshole. Like, I've seen in every iteration, he is an asshole, and he did that to a freaking T. I thought he did an awesome job on that, because he really was a jerk. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He really was a jerk. I thought Wendell Pierce did a great job as Perry White. And you know, they did kind of a little shout out to Superman 2 with Terrence Rosemore's character, because I think his name is Otis Berg or something like that. And if you go back to Superman 2, when was Superman Superman 4, where he was gonna have a portion of California, and Otis wanted his own town, and it was gonna be Otis Berg. So that was kind of like a callback to that. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, man, it was released July the 8th, 2025. It has done pretty much 300 million globally, 200 million domestically in America. However, it is not necessarily doing great abroad. And that's something we've all talked about. And quite candidly, it's because internationally, I guess folks have said, look, this is a little too political for me. And it is political. And we'll get into that. Okay. Because we'd be irresponsible if we didn't. We're not going to get into specific politics, but we're going to acknowledge the fact that there is a definite political agenda. And apparently it has sparked the ire of international viewers because they're not digging it. So with that being said, man, hey, let's get into it. So the movie starts basically saying that 300 years ago, metahumans arrived on the earth. Okay. Couldn't get the whole thing on the screen. Sue me, whatever. But the DC Phase 1, you know how like they have Marvel Phase 1, Marvel Phase 2. Well, DC's phase, this first phase is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what that means, I don't know, but it's called Gods and Monsters. So we're going to proceed. The film starts by saying that 30 years ago, Superman's pod crashed to Earth, giving you an idea of how old he is. 3 years ago, he came out to the world as Superman, sort of wearing his Superman suit and saving people. 3 hours ago, Lex Luthor sent Ultraman wearing the Hammer of Bravia suit to take down Superman in Metropolis. And 3 minutes ago, Ultraman whooped his ass and sent him back to the Fortress of Solitude, which is in Antarctica. And that's where it starts. Now, in this scene, he's coughing up blood, so he's probably got a punctured lung or something like that. Jordan, you don't know this about Dave, but Dave used to be a wrestler, an MMA fighter. Dave can fight, okay? So, Dave, you might have done that to a few people before. I don't know, but it looked like he was coughing up blood. You know what I mean? So,
not on that level. I think we learned from the beginning that James Gunn is a big fan of the number 3.
Yes.
I don't know what was up with that, but everything was 3. 333, 3. I don't know what the significance was of that. But
300, 30 years ago, 3 hours ago, 3 minutes ago. See, he's got a thing with threes and eyes, right? Like he's always trying to stab somebody in the eye in his movies, like with the Suicide Squad. And then with the Gaiju, is that what it was? The Gaiju, whatever, the monster, or whatever. Stab him in the eye. So I don't know what it is with James Gunn, but he's got a thing with eyes.
That's right. Yeah.
He definitely has a thing with eyes. So, look, in this scene, he's basically saying, "Crypto home, crypto home," and crypto is this dog needs to be trained. He is out of order. Problem is, how would you train a superpowered dog? I guess you'd have to have a superpowered being to do it, right? Because Crypto, you and I can't train him. He'd kick our asses. Even Dave, who can fight? Crypto probably kicked the shit out of you, Dave. Sorry to tell you, he's a superpowered being. So, point is, this dog is all over the place. He's got to tell him 3 or 4 times, crypto, home, crypto, home. Crypto's jumping all and down, jumping up on him, which is kind of funny. And then he finally says home, gives him the cape, takes him home, and we see the Fortress of Solitude and the robots, which are from, is that All-Star Superman, Jordan? Where we see
I
them?
believe there's a lot of iterations. Like they sort of play around with that in Man of Steel. It's not as literal in this. It's more of like floating robots that are talking. Yeah. But in a lot of iterations, they sort of do that that kind of thing.
I tell you what I didn't like about it. I did like the movie, but Superman got his ass kicked a lot, man. Like the first scene, bam, you got your ass whooped. Like honestly, right then and there, I wanted to insert Smokey from Friday. And you got knocked up like he got his ass whooped in the first. What kind of Superman movie is that? Where we like, I mean, can we at least beat one person? Can we beat up somebody and work our way up to an ass whooping, which is what you see in most Superman movies? Like, but he gets his ass whooped, thrown to the concrete or whatever, thrown to the mat. They take him into the Fortress of Solitude. We meet all the robots. And the funny thing is, yeah, Superman, we emotionally don't care about anything that's going on. But we're going to tell you we do because we're programmed to do that. How are you? Is everything okay? You want us to put on some music or your parents or whatever? And we'll get you some sunshine and you'll be all right. And he's got a torn spleen and his lungs punctured and 4 broken ribs. And he's in bad shape, man. This is not your dad's Superman, gentlemen. Dave, give me your thoughts. First scene, what are we thinking right here when we see
I mean, I
Superman
think it
does
goes
that?
like even before the first scene. I think, you know, the marketing behind it, clearly they were wanting to go in that direction and make him more vulnerable. They showed that with the previews. Like the very first preview they released was literally the beginning of the movie. And I think they are setting that up that way to make people feel sympathy for him as quickly and as strongly as possible. And I think they were, because I looked at the numbers for Man of Steel and for Superman, like audience wise and the demographics. I think there was a higher percentage of men that scored the movie higher for Man of Steel, but for this one. And so when I read that, I actually asked. So I went to see this with my niece Shelby, my girlfriend Maria, and my nephew Gavin, and it was as far as like which one we would have preferred, it was pretty much this. So me and my nephew Gavin preferred Man of Steel. We actually looked at each other at the end of it and we're like, yeah, Man of Steel. Not that we didn't like this one, we did, but yeah, every single woman that I went with that saw this movie preferred this one over Man of Steel. So I think that was by design, to make him look vulnerable, to get a broader audience, and they definitely did that with the color, making it more comic booky. It was definitely more vivid. It was a lot more vivid and everything there. But yeah, so I think that was definitely by design from the very beginning. They wanted to start at a point because James Gunn's whole thing was he wanted to really capture the humanity and pretty much the vulnerability. So I think I think that was done definitely by design, especially in the beginning.
He definitely captured the vulnerability. Now, you watched Man of Steel the day you went to see this, right?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
It was flushing your mind.
That was a big mistake.
Like, what the hell am I looking at, right? What the hell am I looking at?
Yeah, because again, I knew they weren't going to do the origin thing because that was because even when Zack Snyder did it, if you go back and watch that, he does like callbacks to the origin. He doesn't start off with this was his childhood.
Right.
He starts off at a certain point where he's, he does the whole thing with Krypton, which I thought was just phenomenal because nobody had ever really done that until he did. That I thought that was really cool. Yeah. But yeah, he just, instead of, going from beginning and doing everything in that chronological order, he kind of showed him already there. He's working the odd jobs and all that, which was different too. And then he's doing callbacks to like when he was younger and when his abilities were developing and everything. Yeah, big difference. And then the casting, obviously, because like this movie, not a lot of people. I mean, Wendell Pierce, he's been in a lot of things. I do think David Cornsweet has the look. He definitely has the Superman look. Yeah. That was a good choice. Nicholas Hoult, just great at playing a guy you just hated and just wanted to see die by the end of the movie. Just was phenomenal. 100%. He was absolutely phenomenal. I definitely would prefer Lawrence Fishburne over Wendell Pierce. Wendell Pierce was cool and everything, but Lawrence Fishburne's Perry White was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a huge mistake watching that one before this. Just the casting, the story. And not to just compare them as a whole right away, but I think the storytelling in Man of Steel was better. And that's why I preferred it. I think Snyder just did a hell of a job telling a story. I think it was great. But this one, yeah, I do, because like again, I'm a Superman guy. Any iteration, I haven't like been as deep into the comic book lore as many other people, but yeah, I got no problem with it being comic booky. I do like the new S. I like the new design. I like where they went with that. Because I like, you don't want to do the same thing over and over. I don't think anybody's done that, whether it be a TV show, movie, or anything. But I do like that. But yeah, it was good. If I had to go back, I would not have watched another one before seeing this one, because it was just an odd, because everybody else's reaction was like completely polar opposite of me and my nephews.
Yeah,
everybody's cheering and everything, and I mean, it wasn't completely full of the theater, because we went to a 10:05 3D showing, and it wasn't completely packed, but yeah, they cheered at the end, and I looked around like, what is everybody cheering for? Like, it was good, but like, what is everybody cheering for? Kind of a reaction.
Jordan, your thoughts? The opening scene, dude gets his ass whooped, slammed to the mat, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I had seen the commercial, I didn't know this was in the opening scene, right? So as soon as I sit down and I see, I'm like, damn, he got his ass whooped already. Like, what kind of shit is it? Like, really, I'm thinking, what is this? Like, because again, in most superhero movies, especially Superman, he's gonna save somebody or do something first. He's gonna come out looking incredibly strong. He's gonna take on somebody, then he's gonna meet something that's tough or whatever. And in the conflict, he might lose a little, but this dude got it handed to him. And we see that first thing. Jordan, what's going through your mind when you see this?
Well, compared to the rest of the movie, I am a little confused as to like how he's so bloodied up, how he's so beaten. Like he doesn't just fight Ultraman like one time, that first time. He fights him multiple times throughout the film. He fights other people throughout the film, and he's nowhere near as like, he's nowhere near that. The only time he's close to that, or even worse, is when when the kryptonite from
Metamorpho.
Yeah. As when he goes to kryptonite, I mean, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So this felt like Dave said, you're appealing to a broad audience because you're showing the vulnerability in this Superman. And, I appreciate that. I mean, I've been watching the original animated show, and you really see the vulnerability in that Superman. I mean, that Superman can't even go into space. He's got to go into a spaceship and wear a spacesuit like any other human. So that's such an odd thing to look at in that animated show. So, but in the same light, this is a very different Superman than the other Superman. But there's some people online that I've been seeing. The first thing I thought was, this Superman's definitely the weakest of all the live action movies.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Me too.
There's some people, like, I saw a post where someone's like, Zod from Man of Steel would have killed this Superman.
Oh,
100%.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. And there's people defending that, saying like, "Oh, look at the Flash movie. Look at the Flash movie." I'm like, no. Look at Man of Steel. Look at Zod. Zod destroyed a whole city.
Yeah.
And this, I mean,
and Zod had help. It ain't like he was by himself.
Oh yeah.
Zod showed up with 6 or 7 of his homies.
Mm-hmm.
He would have ate this dude for a snack. He'd have been like, "Is this it?"
That tells me that Zod has not reached Earth yet. in this timeline because
course
there's just
not.
no way. Or if he did, that Zod's extremely weaker than the Zod in Man of Steel.
He's got to be.
I like seeing the vulnerability, but if I'm going to compare it to other Supermans, and in fact, I finished Superman and Lois last weekend. I will say my favorite Superman has changed. It was Henry Cavill.
Really?
It was Henry Cavill, but that Superman, the guy who plays Superman and Superman and Lois is phenomenal.
Okay,
Tyler Hoechlin.
I think I'm on
Tyler Hoechlin. Yeah.
I think I'm on the second season. The third. I think I got like 2 more seasons to finish. So
the
yeah,
finale,
I'm gonna do that.
The finale had me tearing up.
Really?
I was like, there's no way they're doing this to me right now. There's no way they're doing this to me.
Because it ended, right? Like they're not making any more.
Yep, that's it. With DCU being introduced, they're like James Gunn like allowed them to say like, hey, we'll give you enough money to like finish this off, and it finished. It's not like they rushed anything. It just felt like a quality like run of Superman and Lois. But yeah, I mean, I love that Superman. Now that's my favorite Superman. David Cornswet clearly is the weakest Superman of all of that. And maybe they'll show how strong he is in future projects.
Yeah.
But like seeing this Superman and then thinking about how powerful like people like Darkseid are, I have a heart. They might be like making Darkseid weaker in whatever, if they even bring him into a project. They might not because of how early Zack Snyder's Justice League was. Like Zack Snyder's Justice League was so recent, and I really like that adaptation of Darkseid. Like Dave, I'm not one James Gunn or Zack Snyder. I appreciate what both do. I think what James Gunn has done when it comes to comic book movies for Marvel and DC is exceptional. Some people are calling him the best comic book director of all time. I think he's got an argument now because not only has he done it for Marvel, multiple movies, he's done it for DC for multiple movies. And Zack Snyder, I like his style so much. I loved his vision for his movies. I think that was just a headbutting of decision making when it came to Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder. Yeah, I love what both of them do. Zack Snyder goes for the realism, and James Gunn goes for comic book accuracy. And this is extremely comic book accurate. And also Crypto. Let me just say, all right. So I saw this movie on last Tuesday. Last Wednesday was the 1-year anniversary that my dog died.
Oh wow!
So
condolences, bro.
When I did not think I would go into this movie and leave as emotional as I did. I didn't even give this a grade the night of. I waited and I slept on it, and then I gave it a grade. Okay. That is how a dog is. So without superpowers, that's just how a dog is. And then you add in the superhero aspect to just a dog who's just not this. Like there are not many movies. After I got done this, I said to my mom, I was like, "There's not many movies that do dogs right. They do dogs like they know every sit, stay, fetch,
right."
And that's just not how pets are. Yeah. No. In fact, I would say the closest. I would say there's 2 movies, which is so weird. The one is a comedy. It's called Strays. It's an R-rated comedy. That one does it accurate. Yeah. A Dog's Purpose is pretty accurate in terms of its realism, and the way they do Crypto in this movie is super accurate in terms of how a dog actually is. So that's one thing I really appreciated about this movie was how they did Crypto.
Yeah, he never listened. I lost my dog myself
Yeah.
actually 2 months ago, and
Oh,
he
yeah,
never
all right.
listened. And this dog straight up reminded me of the dog that I lost a couple months ago, Bubba. And yeah, he used to. I never figured out he would get through the fence and everything. He was like Houdini. We would patch things up. We would do different things like that, and yeah, he did his own thing. And I feel like the more a dog feels they're stronger, bigger, or whatever, I think they're gonna, do whatever. And I like how they did the dog in this one. I think they had a good iteration, and this is probably the most that they've shown out of
Yes, sir.
any Superman movie or show that I've seen. Like they showed a dog, I think they was named named after my niece Shelby in Smallville. But you only see that dog few and far between. There was like one episode where they highlighted it, and then other than that, you're like, clearly it's edited because like just the positioning and everything.
Yeah.
But the dog in this one, I think, yeah, I thought that was a phenomenal element, and I liked the arc of the dog too, just by the way it was treated in the movie. I kind of felt like at some point, like there was going to be retribution. There's no way, especially when he's building up this vulnerable character in the beginning, and then we're seeing this dog basically being tortured, put in this small confined area, forced to watch these images. It's like, yeah, there's going to be retribution for this dog coming up.
Yeah, I tell you what pissed me off is when Superman does exactly what Lex wants him to do, right? He flies in and he's like, "Where's the dog?" And Lex is like, "What, little furry fella? What are you talking about? I don't understand. What do you say?" And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Get the camera. What are you talking about?" And he's messing with him. He's totally messing with him. And yeah, man, I hated Lex. I was just, you're gonna kidnap a dog, dude. You're an asshole. Anyway, so in this scene, we see Crypto come in. We see exactly, he's tearing up his stuff. Oh, wait, we got Carrie in the chat. Carrie said,
Carrie.
"Hey, T. Will
Hey, Carrie.
and Jordan." Miss Carrie, my producer. How you doing, Miss Carrie? Hopefully all is well. We are talking James Gunn Superman tonight. So, Crypto's all over the Fortress of Solitude. He's tearing up stuff. He's whatever. And the funny thing is when he says, "Well, robots, I thought I asked you guys to watch him." And he said, "Well, we feed him, but the dog can tell we don't care about him. So, he pretty much does what he wants to do." I thought the honesty, right? And just the sincerity of the robots were just hilarious. Like the first thing they say to Superman is, "We're here, and although our voice we're programmed to sound like we care, we really don't. But yeah, let's go ahead and get you." Like, it's like, bro, okay. And then they turn his the recordings of his parents on from Krypton, and they are speaking their native language, which I thought was interesting. And I also thought, and I want to hear what you guys think, but I thought it kind of added to the political agenda. Because if you listen to the formulation of the language, I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm not going to say it. I don't have to say it, but you get where I'm going, right? You understand where I'm going. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, we've never seen them speak a different language. Like, what is going on here? They always spoke English, and it's not a big deal. It's just something that I noticed, right? Now, here's one, and I'll get into it later, but this is something I really did not like. I did not like the fact that after they translated the message, they sent him to Earth to conquer and sow his royal oats. Like, what the hell is going on? Oh, it's 5-2 Braves. Damn it. Okay. Sorry, Yankees just hit a home run. Anyway.
Kyle Schwarber hit a grand slam. I'm just letting you know.
You know what? So as you can tell, Jordan is a Philly fan, right? You know what? I'm gonna let him have it. I'm gonna let him have it. Anyway, I really did not like the fact that they sent him here with such sinister intentions, right? And this was a big, big, big jump from any Superman that's ever been done. Now, I didn't like him playing fast and loose with that, right? The two things I didn't like. Number one, in every Superman iteration that I've always seen, Jonathan Kent always dies at some point. That is a foundational building block in Clark's life, is the fact that his father dies. That's where he and Batman have something in common, is that they both have a piece of them that's broken. That's why he can understand Batman. And it's like, okay, we get in, and don't get me wrong, in the comics, there are some iterations where both parents survive. There are some iterations where both parents die, but it is commonly recognized that Jonathan Kent dies when Superman is at an early age, and a lot of his development is him trying to please his father or trying to live up to his father's expectations. And I didn't like that. I also did not like, and we'll get into it later, because I'm getting way ahead of myself. But I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. I'll ask you guys. The choice for his parents was different than we've ever seen. Let's kind of get into that. Dave, give me your thoughts on it, because they're clearly different. Like, give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, they're definitely different. I think it's the iteration that was I wasn't big on when I first saw them. I was like, wow, this is cool, and I was definitely cool with Bradley Cooper being in the movie. I think he's a phenomenal actor at just about everything he's ever done. But I liked it at the beginning. I regardless of what the motivations were for the language, I thought it made sense. They're from another planet. Like, yeah. I mean, you could easily reconcile that with just that fact, that, obviously they come from somewhere else. So it makes perfect sense. Like, even within the confines of the story, I had no problem with that. I liked it at first. And then when they, decrypted the message and all that, then I was just lost on that. I don't remember any iteration where it was like, I think in Smallville, there was like interpretations that were perceived that were made where it had like a negative connotation to it. Mm-hmm. But this one was flat out, and it just kind of lost me. And then how it carried over to him because of a message that somebody else left regarding him. I know that it played into the fear of the people's reaction to him having these abilities and all that. But as far as like the parents overall, the casting, I was totally cool with. Totally cool with the different language. I actually thought that was a pretty cool element that they brought in, because it makes sense. They're not from around here, so obviously, I was expecting when they broke it down, or they were at least at some point was going to translate it into English, similar to like how in Man of Steel, when Zod broadcast the message, he literally broadcasted in every single language, which I thought was a cool element. I thought there was going to be something like that coming up at some point, but they just kept playing it in the language, and then they decrypted it, and turned out he was, their intention of him was to be here and dominate and to populate the earth. Whatever. That lost me with that. Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Okay. Jordan, well, guys, let's shift gears a bit, right? So obviously Superman gets the dose of sunlight. He's better. He takes off after he scolds his dog for tearing up the place. And he goes to fight the Hammer of Barovia. And we, at this time, don't know who he is. We find out later. But we do know that Lex is controlling him. And Lex is whooping his ass like A1, D5, B4, A1, B5. And he's doing all of these moves that are obviously combos from a video game, which was kind of cool. And at the same time, kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, he is whooping Superman's ass with video game moves. You gotta be kidding me. This is Mortal Kombat. And he's like, D1, 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 B5, G7, wham, wham. Killing him, right? And I'm thinking, wow, okay, you took an L in the first 5 minutes, and you're going to go back and take an L again? And I find myself in the theater like, dude, come on, don't let him go. Oh my God, it's like I'm watching a football game, and the Falcons, don't you say it, Jordan. The Falcons are just sucking right now, okay? And they're doing stuff that's making me mad, and they're running stupid plays, and I'm like, what are you doing? You see the guy open there, that's an interception. Like, that's what's going on in my mind as Superman is getting the bricks beaten off of him. Obviously, whoever the Hammer of Barovia is, with Lex Luthor's help, he's a very prodigious fighter because he's now 2-0 against Superman. So wait a minute. I beat you down. You go home, get some sunlight, come back, and now I'm gonna beat you down again. And what was really, really bad is when he grabbed him by his cape and spun him around. That was just disrespectful. That was just disrespectful, gentlemen. I did not like it. Jordan, talk to me about the first time you witnessed this battle. What's going through your mind as you see this?
Well, the number one thing, and this is why this felt straight out of like Justice League Unlimited, because sometimes there would be fight scenes and they would almost like just shift gears, and like the fight ends, but you think Superman's going to get back up and then go fly and keep fighting, or maybe the Hammer of Baravia is going to come down and finish the job. But no, it's like, all right, we're done for the day. I got to get some lunch.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
I gotta get some sunlight. So it's the same time tomorrow. That's how it felt out of like the animated shows. Is like you would have like fight scenes, and as soon as someone's down, it's like, yeah, stay down, and then you walk away. And that's kind of how this fight scene happened. Like when I saw this end, I was like, oh, all right, that's just gonna be it. Like Lex Luthor wants to kill Superman at the end of the day, and you're just like, oh, okay, no. But ended up going with his political agenda, why he didn't want to kill Superman, I guess, in that moment. Whatever. It was a very weird scene for me because I definitely did not feel like I was watching Superman. I felt like if you changed the colors, the costume, and I don't know, made him not look like Clark Kent Superman, then I'd be like, oh, okay, this guy's kind of sucks at what he's doing. Like, this guy doesn't seem so Superman. So yeah, wasn't, and it was in this moment when the first time I saw the Hammer of Baravia, I was like, okay, I know exactly who's under the suit. I knew exactly from this moment on who was going to be under the suit. Because all I had to do was I had like 4 or 5 different guesses as who it would be, but I knew based off the fight styles and the way Lex Luthor was like, I don't know, playing Battleship, basically saying A1 hit, that he basically was just like a clone. I mean, that was kind of what I gathered after this.
Surmised, yeah. Dave, what's going through your head as you watch this scene, man?
Yeah, like I get what was trying to be done here, and it made sense, but just the timing of it all, it's just odd. We're being introduced to him all over again, and he's getting the crap kicked. But I mean, I know that they're trying to basically write like, well, what if somebody with the mind of Lex Luthor had the strength of Superman?
Right.
And then that's what you would get. Like that, in that essence, it makes sense because he got the crap kicked out of him with all of Lex's Battleship moves, but that was just such a weird element.
Yes, it was.
D5, D4. I'm like, what the hell's happening here?
It's like he's playing a video game. He's like, all right, triangle.
It was so odd. Like they could have, and I don't know who wrote. James Gunn is phenomenal and everything, but like, why did we have to get Lex playing Battleship? We could, because I mean, they're using high-tech stuff throughout the movie. So like we can't like have an earpiece and he's just, telling them like, hey, duck, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, and hit him with a right hook or whatever. But the Battleship thing was a little silly. and all of that. I get what they were trying to do though, and it made sense.
I tell you what was funny, Dave, was when he's got him down and he's like, B1, B1, B1. And let's
it's like, at what point do you catch on? He's
right. So,
for one thing.
Feeling it, right? And let's start preaching. He's like, B1.
And the other thing that Jordan brings up too, that's another thing that made me stop and be like, we're just doing this. Like they did. They just stopped. Like everything just stopped, and everybody went home.
It's like, okay.
Well, we don't want to cause any more property damage. We're gonna hold things off right here. we're gonna let you train because we want to beat you at your best, and we'll come back and do this another time. Okay. That's what it was. It was so weird. It was
Did
so
you get
weird.
everything you needed? You got everything. All right. We're gonna come back tomorrow.
You really had to suspend all your disbelief in that moment because it was like, yeah, it's very comic booky. We'll just stop right now. Yeah. We just wanted to let you know we got you today. Okay. No elements of danger. He just.
You had enough.
You go back home. We'll do this again. Yeah.
He's tired out.
All right.
He's tired out. He's had enough. Yeah, man. What was funny was like, so Superman's down in whatever indentation, implant, whatever hole or crater he created when he fell. And the gentleman comes down to help him, and Superman goes to get up and he can't. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding. With this again? What are we? I tell you what it felt like, right? So number one, and Jordan, you and I had talked about this movie like probably 2 weeks before it came out, a week before it came out. We were super excited. I felt like it was 2010 when Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers came into the Georgia Dome and destroyed us. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I was so excited for that game. Like, 5 hours before the game, I go and get chips and dip and pizza and chicken and every bad thing I'm not supposed to have, but I did. It was 15 years ago. Give me a break. And I'm all excited and I'm ready to go. And I sit down and what the hell I saw was not what I expected. Aaron Rodgers did I think they beat us like 50-10. They kicked the crap out of us. And that's how I'm feeling right now watching this movie. Like, bruh, this is 2 times in a row. Let's get it together. Like, who's in your ear? Let's ask somebody. Let's get you somebody. What's going on, Clark? What is going on? We need to fix this. And then you're going to sit your punk ass down there and be like, oh, that just pissed me off. Like, that was too much vulnerability. This is Superman, damn it. We don't expect this. We don't care about your feelings, Clark. Your job is to whoop ass. Okay.
He needed to put some icy hot on.
He needed to do something. Whatever. I'm sorry. I had to get it out. All right. So Luthor breaks into Superman's lair, right? Because he's got, like you say, he's got the DNA, right? He's got the clone. Or wait, what do they call him? Ultraman?
Ultraman.
Yeah.
Which
I think it was a spin-off of Bizarro. I think
right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later, but I think he'll eventually become Bizarro Superman.
I think so too, because Luthor says, yeah, he's too dumb. He's like he's not smart enough to follow. Like he's kind of letting you know, like, okay, you know what I mean? But you know, he and the engineer, who's kind of cool, right? So she's got these nanites. And she has the ability to transform and shapeshift and do all this other stuff, as well as Ultraman break into the Fortress of Solitude and beat the hell out of those robots. And I just felt like that was overkill. Like, it's one thing to, it's one thing to beat up Superman, but you got to beat up his robots. You got to beat up his AI? Like, that's just uncivilized, right?
The one thing about this, You know how there was backlash before this movie came out about a scene being taken out showing Crypto getting punched?
Yeah, yeah.
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it was right here. I think it was
I think so
in this
too.
scene. When the nanites go over his face, I think that was initially going to be a punch from like
punch,
Ultraman to punch him.
Yeah, yeah. And that wouldn't go over well. That would not go over well.
Yeah, we can beat the shit out of David Cornsweat, but the second you hit a dog, then we have problems.
We're gonna have to we're gonna kick your ass, Lex Luthor. Okay.
This is where we are as a society.
We're drawing a line.
This is where we draw the line, damn
That's
it.
where we draw the line. That's where we draw the line.
So what if you killed 1 billion people? You hurt a dog? Or how about the scene where Superman saves a squirrel? Like, really?
I love that. I loved it.
Really?
I love that.
Oh
scene.
my God.
I loved it.
Come on,
Because
man.
I went to see this with my mom. Superman is her favorite superhero, and she loves Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Yeah.
And I said to her right before the movie started, I said, if I don't see him save a cat, we're walking out of the theater. And he goes and saves a squirrel. I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that. And a lot of people, like when they were filming this movie, they were like, oh, is that like they thought that was like a superhero. They thought the squirrel was gonna be a superhero. So it's so funny that everybody was just so wrong, and it's just some random squirrel.
But yeah, that's the thing, and yeah, women totally dug that between the dog, the squirrel, like that. Yeah.
I'll tell you what it made me think of. It made me think of Major League when who's the guy, Jesus whatever, has sworn off bad behavior. And he's like, I don't want to hurt this little animal. And
you're talking about the sequel. You're talking about Major League 2. Yeah. Trust me, I know
that's what it reminded me. Like, what the hell are we doing? You got people dying all around you, people falling, and you're gonna say, get it? What are we doing? What are we doing, Clark? Anyway, Luthor breaks in. The engineer obviously breaks into Clark's digital software because, of course, she's equipped with otherworldly technology that can just integrate that, right? Because that makes sense. And they're able to download the message, and they have what they came for, and they leave. This Lex Luthor, the more time you spent observing him, the less you liked him. Like, clearly his motivations were envy and ego. And I think he even says, I just don't like the fact that as smart as I am. Yeah, and he's very arrogant. He was like Michelangelo. Like, he's pissed off at everybody that's not him. Anybody that's ever done anything remarkable, he's clearly pissed off with, which they're kind of playing the crazy billionaire trope. They're kind of playing that up a little bit. I'm sorry. They have too much money to be crazy. The eccentric billionaire trope, okay, is what they're playing up here. But just a very, there's nothing redeemable about this Lex Luthor, right? There are other Lex Luthors, specifically Smallville, where they have some redeemable characteristics. But this guy is just a freaking monster. And it really is. Jealousy will take you to some dark places. Envy will take you to some dark places, right? There was nothing redeemable about his character. Jordan, let's talk about Lex Luthor. Let's talk about how you feel about his performance, but let's just talk about his character for a minute. Give me your thoughts on this one. And you know what? Let's have a little fun, because I tell you what, even though he was a jerk, I preferred him a whole hell of a lot better than that dude that was in Man of Steel. I hated him.
Well, actually, he was not in Man of Steel. He didn't come in until Batman vs Superman, because Zod was the storyline in Man of Steel.
I'm sorry.
But if you're comparing Lex's, I agree with.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Batman vs Superman. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I detested him. I straight up detested him. Because he was a sniveling little twerp, and this guy, at least he was committed. At least he wasn't agity and jumpity and just a million things that are the antithesis of everything that we know about Lex Luthor. This guy is more Lex Luthor than the one or the previous iteration in Batman versus Superman. Dave, kind of speak to that for me. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, Jordan.
Or Jordan, Dave, both. Doesn't care.
I will say, I love Nicholas Hoult. I have not watched a movie where I didn't like a character of his, whether that was The Menu, Warm Bodies, the X-Men franchise where he plays Beast. I just love every movie that he's ever done. So when I heard he was playing Lex Luthor, I'm like, yeah, he'll do good at that. Like, there's no doubt. I will say people are way overrating him. I think he did great, but I screenshot like 20 posts where people say he's the greatest comic book villain ever, or this is the comic book Mountain Rushmore, and lists Heath Ledger's Joker, Josh Brolin's Thanos, and he's on it too. We need to dial it back, okay?
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go so far to say he's the best Lex Luthor. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't either. I like Gene Hackman.
I mean, he definitely good, and I love those original Superman movies. It's what I grew up with. But I think the best iteration, and I think a lot of this has to do with because you compared him to the Lex on Smallville. So there's the difference between the two is because we got to see more of like his kind of turn in Smallville. And I think that's why I prefer him, because that is the one I think has played the best iteration of that character. And that's just, my opinion. But I just think he had more of like an Anakin turning into Darth Vader kind of element going on, because him and Clark were friends and all that. And I think Michael Rosenbaum absolutely nailed that. I thought he was phenomenal throughout the entire thing. That was odd. But Nicholas Hoult, same thing. I agree with Jordan. Like I've liked him in every single thing he's been in, and I think for what they gave him for a couple of hours, if your goal was to make me hate him, by the time the movie was, he absolutely knocked it out of the park.
He
absolutely,
100%.
He did, because I absolutely wanted to see him get his face smashed in, and the fact that the dog. We're not doing spoilers, are we?
Go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
For those of you who didn't see it, but I mean, just the way he got in the end, I thought was fitting. Either way, without going into detail, but he knocked it out of the park, absolutely. And that picture you post of him, that's the Lex Luthor look to a T. That picture that's up right now, like he looked it, he acted it. I mean, he knocked it out of the park. He was a great villain heel character for this movie, because everybody. And I think that was the biggest as far as the audience reaction when I was there, like during the movie, that was the biggest reaction at the end when he got it at the end. Bro,
when Crypto whooped his ass, I was like, thank you. I shouldn't say this, but I really was like, thank you, God. Yes. I could not stand him. Like I was seething. Like he was just so evil. You know what I mean? When he referred to Superman as an it. And that was, again, that's going to the political. I mean, you know what I mean? But even in just him being a human being, he was just evil. We got Debo vibes in the chat. Debo says, what up, fellas? What up, Debo?
Hey, Debo.
A1 Forever says, what it do? What's going on, A1? Hey, we're talking Superman. Hey, yeah, man. When Crypto whooped his ass, I was ecstatic about that, because I had enough of him, especially when he was like, oh, they sided with Superman. We'll just kill them too. I'll decide who we save. And I'm like, bro, you're killing random people. You're killing random people because they didn't like you. Like, this is why you don't need power. This right here is why human beings do not need the power of gods. Because people make decisions like that. Oh, you didn't like me. Oh, you know what? You took my parking space. You gotta die. Like, just insane, right? But look, excellent performance. I have no issue with anything in there. I thought he did great. Now, I'm not gonna say that he rose to the level of Heath Ledger. I don't know that anyone has done that. even Thanos, I don't know that. Oh wow, base is loaded. Sorry about that. I don't know that anyone has raised their performance to the level of a Heath Ledger, where he look. It was a role he died to play. He literally died playing it. He sacrificed everything, and I just cannot see. Heath Ledger was so good. I can't see anybody else playing that role. I mean, I know Jared Leto plays it or whatever, but it's kind of like, dude, you're fighting for second place right now. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't see another performance worthy of that. And it definitely wasn't worthy of Thanos. Although Thanos didn't have much of a character arc, just his presence, the way he conducted himself, the way he put it out there. Yeah, I don't think that Lex's performance rivaled that. But anyway,
No.
we got to go. We got stuff to do. So now we get into the public backlash and the interview. Let's go to the interview first. So this is the first time we see Lois and Superman and their relationship. And I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this Lois, because this Lois to me was way more aggressive than anyone, way more argumentative. And I'm going to be honest with you. When Clark is about to leave and she's like, I knew it wasn't going to work, I was thinking to myself, yeah, me neither. Hell no. She was really, I'm choosing my words carefully, difficult, right? Like, and I get that Clark is kind of, the stars and the moon and a bit of a dreamer, and she's more pragmatic. But it's like she kind of went out of her way to agitate him when they did that interview, right? Oh, yeah? Oh, you did that? Oh, you know how that sounds. You know how that sounds, right? Are you really going to say, like, she was just pushing his buttons, right? Which is something my wife does, but we've been married for 32 years. I don't know what their excuse is. It's a little different. You know what I mean? We push each other's buttons is what couples do when you've been together for 3 decades, but they haven't. So to me, I didn't like this part of her I didn't like this part of her personality, because he hasn't committed to her yet, right? And let's be honest, in every iteration of Superman and Lois prior to this one, Lois is spellbound by him. She is captivated by him. He is her world. I don't get that coming off her chest. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I get, yeah, I'm going to deal with you, and yeah, I got my own issues, but I don't get that. I don't get that bewilderment. I don't get that fascination. I don't get that lovesick infatuation that we get from other iterations of Lois towards him. Jordan, give me your thoughts on that.
All right. I have strong opinions about this. I absolutely loved Rachel Brosnahan's performance as Lois Lane. In fact, I will go as far to say that in one movie, I liked her Lois Lane more than I liked the Lois Lane in Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, either iteration of Justice League. I love this because this is who Lois Lane is at the end of the day. In the animated series does this fantastic too. Lois, regardless of Superman or not, is a strong reporter. She will go to the ends of the earth to figure out a story and get it right. And that's why she's very hesitant at first when they're talking. He's like, yeah, you can interview me. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to go well because I just know she's going to lay some, like, you know, when you're working, you're in work mode and you're at home family mode. And then, but if you try to bring in like family to talk about your work and stuff, it's like, do you really want to talk about?
Yeah,
Do you really want to
yeah.
learn what the square root of 132,000? Like, do you really want to know like how to build a Cadillac converter? Like, do you
Right.
really want to know all that? And it's like, yeah, sure. No, you don't.
You
That,
really
like,
want to know the 16 applications that me and Dave deal with on a daily basis? Do you really want to hear that?
She was giving him an out. She was giving him an out, saying, "Are you sure?" And he's
Right.
like, "Yeah." So I love this. In fact, she did so well that David Cornswet was talking about how well she was doing. That during this scene of filming, and I had mentioned this to you, T. Will, that she had asked a question in a certain way that was on her script that made David Cornswet say F you to her.
Right.
And because he was so into character and
Right.
the way she delivered a line just threw him completely off.
Yeah. And
And that's hilarious. That's great line delivery too. And that's a great job of both actors getting into character. I love this so much. And you can tell that their relationship is fairly fresh, that they're not they haven't necessarily been together for years, but she's clearly known who Superman is for probably 3 months. There's a 3 probably. So I absolutely loved her performance in this whole movie. And another thing that not many Lois Lanes have really it's not really been talked about, many Lois Lanes, is the military background. So Lois Lane in the comics is a military brat. Her dad was in the military. So that's why she has this like strong energy of trying to be a reporter. So this brought, she mentions it a few times in this, and that's how she's able to like fly that, the aircraft, which that at first I was like, how is she able to fly this thing? And I was like, all right, I guess that makes sense, because her dad was in the military. But yeah, I just loved her performance. And this whole scene, James Gunn said afterwards, this was his biggest risk of the whole movie, was putting this 13 minutes dialogue between the two of them, because it was just that. It was dialogue. There was no action. There was nothing else. And I'm so glad this all showed up in this whole scene. I loved it so much.
Let me ask you this: you don't think that because I'm playing devil's advocate here. At 3 months, wouldn't you kind of ration it out a little bit? Like, again, when you meet somebody, I know we're all about being vulnerable and exposing ourselves, but you typically meet their representative, right? You don't really find out who a person really is until about 6 or 7 months into it. 3 months is a little soon to be like, well, are you sure? Okay, I'm like that. That to me felt way too aggressive. What again? And I hear you, Jordan. I hear you. But a large part of the dynamic between Superman and Lois, oh shit, what are we doing here? Sorry, 7-4. The Braves are trying to give away the game. A large part of their dynamic is that even though she is a strong woman, she is enamored with him. You got to understand, he, takes her up, sweeps her off her feet, literally flies into the sky like a god, does things that no man she's ever seen has done before. We're 3 months into the relationship. I honestly think she might be a little more careful about it, right? And then the other thing that I didn't like about it was that she was talking to somebody and she says, yeah, I was going to break up with him. Where would that ever happen in any universe but this one? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't see Lois. Lois can talk all that stuff she wants to. She loves Superman's dirty drawers. It is all about soup. It is all about Mr. Clark Kent. Okay? What do you mean I was going to break? Like, you've been with this guy for 3 months, right? I felt like I didn't feel like that was realistic. If this was a year into it, I could see it, right? Because you're comfortable with each other. I got my shit at your place. You got your shit at my place. You've met my parents. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. There is a certain level of rapport. There's a certain level of comfort that we have. 3 months, we're still getting to know each other. I don't even know all your playlists yet. I don't know all your favorite movies. Like, what the hell?
But the main issue with the dialogue though wasn't so much the relationship. It was the way the public could see. She was doing a lot of like playing devil's advocate. This was actually like for me, it was like one of the stronger parts of the movie. And I liked her too. I definitely liked her more than the Man of Steel's iteration of Lois. I like this one better too. And I feel like she knocked the character out of the park. But I think that dialogue between the two of them, probably one of, if not my favorite parts of the whole thing, because a lot of it had to do with she was being firm with him, but at the same time she was really trying to point out like, this is how this looks to other people.
Yeah. No,
and I'm just trying to get you to understand that. She wasn't, I didn't feel like she was really coming at him like that or attacking him. I just, obviously, because he had already done the action, so instantly, of course, he's offended because she's pointing out, well, this is how this looks to other people, what you just did right there.
Right.
So any other human being is going to take offense to that because he did it. Like, he visibly appeared uncomfortable. I thought this was a great, however long this was, 12 or 13 minutes.
To die.
Right. I absolutely love that part because it's like, because if you're grilling me like that about something, like, you don't know, you weren't there, people were going to die. Like, that was a very natural response to that interaction. I absolutely loved that interaction. I thought that was one of the brighter points of the movie.
Okay.
And
well,
I will say one more thing about this Lois. So I might have mentioned it in our Man of Steel review that I don't think we've gotten a great live action adaptation of Lois Lane. I think they've all been good, but I don't think any of them have been great.
Yeah.
And if this is the Lois that we continue to see, this will easily be the greatest Lois Lane ever in live action. And Superman and Lois's Lois Lane also plays Lois Lane similar to this, but it's like an older Lois Lane, like Superman and Lois have kids, like, but she still has that mindset in her. She's just a lot older. So I have no doubt in my mind, if we continue, bearing anything like happening to the DC universe or anything, this will continue to be the greatest Lois Lane that we've ever seen.
That's wow. Okay. And look, I'm not saying she was bad. Let me be clear. I'm not saying she was bad. It was a great performance. I just felt like 3 months is a little soon for you to just like I don't.
But she didn't really come at him like that though, because she was like, "Do you want to do this?" Like, she was giving. She came at him. She came at him, but I mean, she was giving him an out like almost immediately. So it wasn't
once
like
she got warmed up, it was on. And basically, he was like, "You know, I hate it when they call me super shit or something like that." He was messing with him. He was mad then. He was all up. He was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna go." You know what I mean? And instead of her being like, "Oh, Clark," she was like, "I knew this wasn't gonna work." I'm like, "Damn, Lois." I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. All right, let's talk about. So Superman's fighting is it the guy? Jesus Christ, Braves, what are we doing? Okay, anyway.
Superman's fighting Jesus Christ.
No, hey, no. God. Oh, no. Oh. Hey, God,
that's what I got out of
that. I did not mean that.
That's what happened in Superman 2025. Jesus showed up.
No.
Superman showed up.
Superman's fighting the Gaiju, right? And whatever. And what is it with James Gunn and poking people in the eye? Like what is that? He did that.
I think that's a Sam Raimi hint. Because Sam Raimi did that in all of his movies, in the Spider-Man trilogy, in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and the Evil Dead franchise. I think that's a subtle nod to Sam Raimi.
You think so?
I think so.
I didn't think about that, but that's
So-
disgusting.
So speaking of nods, and I caught this, I think they played this multiple times in this movie, and I thought this was like a real class act by James Gunn. They did an instrumental in the background that was the instrumental that was in Man of Steel. They just did it in like a softer way. So if I don't know if either of you caught that, or if anybody
I didn't catch it.
who's watching
I
or
didn't
listening to this
either.
caught that, but it was like a bit of a remix. It was like a softer version of it, but it was definitely the instrumental for Man of Steel. I appreciated that. I like when they do the little nods. Like I love that he did his own thing with everything, but I like it when they like
Call back.
with William Reeve in the
Yeah.
as a side character. Man of Steel did that with numerous Smallville actors. Like I was telling you a little bit before we came on, but I like it when they do the nods. Like you don't need to recast them. Do your own thing, but I just think that was classy. For them to do that, because obviously they're not people that are at odds with each other. I was reading stuff online. There's deep hatred, like people not wanting to see this movie do well because they're so like that. Like it's not coming, like the Snyder thing. It's not like, I don't think that's happening with the DC thing. Warner obviously not a big fan of him. I'm glad it's doing well. And all of that, because I hope we get more Superman stories and everything. But yeah, I totally dug Lois's character. Absolutely. I thought the iteration was good. One of my personal favorites, again, going back to Smallville, Erica Durant's. They actually show it overtly, like her being the daughter of the general and all that. And she is very, very strong character in that one. Don't know who I would have as my ultimate favorite, but since we're comparing Man of Steel and the new the Lois and the new Superman obviously gets it for that one. She definitely beats out.
I like Man of
Adams.
Steel Lois. I liked her.
She's good.
I liked her too. I'm not saying
good.
I'm not saying she wasn't good. I'm just saying if I'm picking between the two, the one and the new Superman, I think just delivered a better Lois performance.
Like if I was grading the Superman or the Lois and Man of Steel. Oh, and just all of those movies, I would give her like a solid, like maybe B-, C+. This one I'd probably give like a B+, A-. Like I think she's just like on another tier that's closer to the Lois Lane of the comics.
Yeah.
I do have a question, because I know Christopher Reeves' son was supposed to be in this, but I completely forgot about it when I was watching it. Do you guys know like where he was?
He was a reporter.
He was a report. It was in one of the, and until I read it online, I actually completely had no idea he was in the movie when I saw it. But when I thought back on it, because I haven't seen a lot of pictures of him, but when they explained, because the cast, if you look up the casting, it has him as TV reporter. There was something that was playing on the TV, I think, and then that he was the reporter on there. It was not long. It was not a very long part at all. But yeah. So
it did. It was just like a quick blur, but I mean,
yeah.
Hey, like you
but
say,
still, like just the subtle, like
respect.
because you want like guys that come in to do their own thing and like have the vision be all theirs and not feel like it didn't need to be a torch passing thing. I think he even made a comment about that. Like, we're not the gatekeepers of Superman. I think he said something like that.
Yeah.
That I had read online, which is true. But at the same time, like, it's just a classy move to kind of like pay respect to people that were a part of it or had some part to play in it somehow, some way. Not that there needed to be any torch passing, because I mean, I think we're kind of past that at this point. But I just thought it was a classy move, both like what he did with the instrumental, having him in it for that little part or whatever. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about the public backlash. So after the Gaiju is defeated, because they poked him in the eye, and then I think Mr. Terrific was outstanding, by the way.
Yeah,
Freaking love that guy, right? And after he dispatches those T cells and they blow up that dude's stomach, and Superman tries to lay him down gently, and then all of a sudden Luthor puts out this report that Superman's parents wanted him to take over the earth and sire as many kids as he could, like he was King Ramsay. It was amazing to see how people just turned on him, right? And that's what was interesting, is that I felt like there would be one or two people that would be like, nah, man, no way. You know what I mean? But looking at the crowd, those people turned on him quicker than J-Lo changes boyfriends. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm a big J-Lo fan. I'm just kidding. But they turned on him, right? And what it speaks to is they were probably afraid all along, and Luthor is playing on that fear, right? Even though Superman does these, and it goes to show that people fear what they don't understand. They fear what's different. Look, Superman has saved many people. Never lost a fight until that day. He's having a bad day, by the way. Let me just say, he's having a really bad day. Like, bad day. I mean, not as bad as the lady from Straw in the Netflix movie, but it's a bad day. So, anyway, they all turn on him. You know what I mean? And one guy like throws something at the back of his head, and I'm like, wow. And then all of a sudden he goes into whatever, it's not a LexCorp building. I think it's the other one owned by the Justice Gang or whatever. But they go in that meeting, and Guy Grantham or Guy whatever being the asshole that is, I just want to know, did you do it? Is it true? Is it true? Do you really want to sire all these women? Like, is it like he's such a jerk, right? He's such a jerk. Let's talk about, and Dave, let's start with you. Let's talk about how you're feeling in this moment. Now that everything has changed, now that Luthor has put out this information and is trying to assuage or turn the tide of public opinion against Superman, give me your thoughts in that moment.
So yeah, that element I didn't really connect with. I know they were, playing to the times with the whole cancel culture and whatnot, and I get all that, but what did they say at the beginning? He's been there for like 3 years or whatever.
Right.
I just don't feel like there was enough to really like why did you have to do that to get there, kind of a thing, where like, because they talked about this international thing. In fact, the dialogue with him and Lois is about this international incident that he intervenes in. So why can't you do something where like he releases like edited footage and like, or something like that doesn't paint him in the greatest light? Because, we're going to rally all these people because this is what your parents said.
Exactly.
So we should all hate you.
Exactly.
I just didn't connect with. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but why did you have to do that? Like, why you could have got there another way. That portion of it I didn't really connect with.
Agreed.
I think that's a testament. So I think this movie, like one of the, not morals, but one of the themes of this movie was social media and the backlash. It's kind of ironic that it's James Gunn making this movie, and James Gunn got fired from Marvel for all that stuff.
Right.
But it is a testament on how, just social media as a whole, and that something your parents might post might be perceived by the whole world completely, like they could be saying the most awful stuff. That's not something you agree with. I mean, there's stuff that my parents, I don't agree with them on things, and if they said it, I would be like, yeah, I don't agree with you on that, and the whole world might hate them. But that's not how I feel. That's how social media is nowadays. I mean, people blow up for the dumbest little things. Now, James Gunn, some of the things he said were I'm seeing new ones every month for what James Gunn said, and I'm like, oh, buddy, I understand why you were fired.
You know what's interesting about that, though? You know what's interesting? He said that if he had not gone through that experience, he couldn't have made this movie, and he's probably right.
Yeah, because he would have never made Suicide Squad. DC would have never been like, we want you to do Peacemaker. And because Peacemaker did so well, it gave him the opportunity to be like, hey, I'll be the head of DC. Like, it literally gave him doing that, gave him his current position, which is the craziest thing ever.
Well, not only it is that is irony at its finest, but not only that, but I think we're looking at a little bit of James Gunn's story here. Like, I think,
that's kind of like
kind of mixing that in the sauce here. This is a personal revelation for him, right?
Yeah,
this is something that he went through personally. This is a personal trial, and I think from a writing standpoint, it was an authentic vantage point that he could offer, right? Because let me tell you something. There are 4 ways you know who your friends are. Win a whole lot of money, lose a whole lot of money, get sick, or go through a scandal. And you will find they will scatter like roaches. You will find out who your friends are. I promise you. I promise you. Anyway, whatever.
Indeed.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but I felt like, and it is cancel culture, but it is a bit of a scandal, and I felt like there was some truth to it. Now, I don't think everybody would have done that. I think there may have been 2 or 3 people that have been like, hey, man, we're riding with you. But they just chose not to show that. Doesn't mean they're not there. They just chose not to show that. But again, I just feel like this is a perfect example of how people will always turn on you when there is something about you that they fear. You get what I'm saying? Because it wasn't 5 minutes before those folks were like, oh, get out of here. Oh, I'm like, damn, like, you haven't even fully digested the story. You ain't even read the whole paragraph. Like, well, okay, it was a video, but still, whatever. Okay, just my thoughts.
I will say, so for the whole story, like I keep thinking Bradley Cooper, because I don't think of Jor-El when I think of Jor-El, I think of Jor-El. I think of like the different iterations in him.
Right.
When I see Bradley Cooper, I think, oh, that's Bradley Cooper, not the character he's playing. Also Eagles fan, so shout out Bradley Cooper. So we got a long lineage of so that was the whole point of this, was Jor-El, Eagles fan, wanted Superman, Eagles fan, to spread the bloodline of Eagles fans across the entire world. That was the whole point of the story. No.
Let me cut George's mic off. Hold on one sec, Dave. Hold on. Let me cut his mic off. All right. Go ahead. That was a bit of a reach. I see what you did there, Jordan. But that was a bit of a reach. But okay. I see you.
But I will say, I was okay with the switch up. Like, it was something different. It was something I never really thought about. Now I've seen a couple episodes of Smallville. I want to watch it all the way through. That'll probably be the next thing I end up watching all the way through. But I was like, I like this twist a little bit, and the reason that I like it and it works is because Pa Kent is still alive. If he wasn't alive, then Superman wouldn't have that father figure to turn to, and he wouldn't have that father figure to rely on whether they were dead or not. Like with Man of Steel, he had 2 parents who loved him. Both passed away, but he had 2 parents that he could rely on. I mean, he learned a lot from the virtual version of Jor-El, and he learned a lot from Pa Kent.
Right.
But in this, because of what he goes through, realizing like, oh, his biological parents like gave him this mission. Yeah, they were monsters. Him going through that allows for that dialogue between him and Pa Kent at the end to feel so much more rewarding. And I love that dialogue. I love this Pa Kent too. So I got cousins who are from Kansas, and this is the most Kansas Kents that we've ever had on
So
screen.
that is accurate, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I know. All right, people are gonna get annoyed with how old they are and stuff like that. They're yelling into the phone and stuff like that. They're calling it the tube and stuff like that. But that's so Kansas. The way she's like, I'm gonna shine your boots, and like just there. It was so accurate. I loved it so much because I mean,
so
let's be honest.
like that part of it. Okay.
Let's be honest. Even though I love both actors who play as parents in Man of Steel, and I love that version. And if I'm picking any version, it's going to be that one in Man of Steel. But this is the most realistic adaptation of a Kansas family, and that's what which is weird because Zack Snyder's known for his realism, and this is very comic booky, but this is more realistic in his adaptation of Kansas farmers. Because I mean, it didn't really sound like any of them were definitely from Kansas and Man of Steel.
I think James Gunn is from Kansas, and what he said is that he wanted to make characters that were closer to realistic, I guess, portrayals. So he did say that, and you just backed that up. So I mean, I have nothing else to say about it. If they were keeping it real, then they were keeping it real. It is what it is, man. All right, so let's move on. So now Superman has a conversation with Lois. He decides, you know what? I'm going to turn myself in. And Jesus, Braves. It will drive you to drink. Okay, anyway, sorry. They're playing with my emotions right now. I don't know why they want to do this while I'm doing this presentation. They just want to keep messing with me. Anyway, he decides to turn himself in. And this was one of the bones of contention with the whole political ideology, because when he slammed to the concrete, he says, "You didn't read me my rights," right? And let's be honest, the pocket zone is, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, Gitmo. Okay, it's Gitmo. Let's be real. Let's keep it honest. And they send him to this pocket detention center. And he arrives there, and Metamorpho, which, by the way, okay, little known fact. When I had to be 6 or 7 years old. This is Dave. You about what, 10 years younger than me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little bit before your time. Jordan, this was definitely before your time. But back in the day, when I was 5 or 6 or 7 years old, we had these little thing called records, right? They were these little discs. Right?
I got records. I got records right now.
Hold on. I got to tell you guys this, because you guys are going to laugh, because this is really goofy. And my wife is not going to be happy that I shared this story with you, but I feel the need to do it. So here we go. So I was 7 years old. I used to go and visit my grandmother in Alabama. I'm originally from Montgomery, Alabama. And shout out to everyone in Alabama. I was going to crack a joke, but I'm not going to, just because I want to crack a joke, but I'm not going to. Anyway, I'll crack that joke offline when nobody else can see it but us. Trust me, it's funny. Anyway, back to the story. So my cousin and I used to listen to records, and they made these Justice League records, right? That, for every character or whatever, they had a song. And so there was this song called Metamorpho, and me and my cousin freaking loved it. Oh my God. It had like a 60s thing, like Metamorpho. It was great. I'm telling you, if I didn't think I'd get in trouble, I'd play it for you now. Like, it was so dope. Like, if I call my cousin right now, I wonder if she'd answer. She would tell you about Metamorpho. I don't know if she would. I don't know. I'm going to, you know what? Hell with it. I'm going to try it. So Metamorpho, the point is Metamorpho has always been one of my favorite characters because that's how I was introduced to him. I didn't know anything about him. and my cousin put on this song, and we were like, "Oh my god, that is great!" And you know, when you're 5, you listen to stuff like over and over and over again. So we listened to Metamorpho like all summer. Hold on one sec. I know this is a bit unorthodox, but that's what you get when you watch For My ATL movies. You get unorthodox stuff like this. So we're gonna try it. She may not answer. She's gonna laugh because I'm gonna tell her she's on a podcast now. Hey, hey, Peaches, you there?
How you doing?
I'm good. Can you guys hear her?
Yeah.
All right, so Peaches, I'm actually on a podcast. Guess what I'm talking about?
What?
Metamorpho. So you remember that summer when we listened to that like every day?
Listen to that all the time.
Wasn't that a great song?
It was.
It was the best. Okay. That's all I wanted. I love you, cuz. I'll call you later, okay? All right,
Thanks
bye.
for coming on the show. Your 20 seconds are up for the evening.
Let me tell you something.
Next caller. Next caller.
He's gonna clown me so much when this show is over. He's gonna be like, "What did you do?" No, but anyway. So yeah, I brought that up to say Metamorpho's always been one of my favorite characters, man. That's how I was introduced to him. He's got cool powers. And really, if you guys get a chance, you should look up Metamorpho on YouTube, listen to the song. It's got a 60s feel to it. It's a really cool song, or at least it was in the 70s when we listened to it. I don't know about it now, but it was really cool. But anyway, let's get back to it. So Luther basically imprisons Superman. Metamorpho can form up any shape on any element, and of course, he forms up kryptonite and holds Superman hostage. And Metamorpho is doing this obviously because Luther has his son, and this is when we really begin to see the ruthless side of Lex Luthor, the really ruthless side of Lex Luthor. So the gentleman that tried to help Superman in the beginning when he's fighting
Ultraman or
Ultraman
whatever.
or Bavario or whatever dude's name is.
Yeah, it's got 30 names.
Right. Luther has captured him, brings him before him, and he says, "Where are your parents?" And he starts asking him questions, and he doesn't answer. And Luther blows his brains out. And we're like, wow, okay, like you really are ruthless. Like Luther just does not give it, and he'll be like, you know what, I'll be back tomorrow. How about I go get Lois, okay? And I'll come back tomorrow, and maybe you'll start answering some questions. And I'm like, damn, like this dude is really ruthless. And I think the difference between his character and the Lex Luthor from Batman Superman is that Lex Luthor was less hands-on. He was more so, I'm going to get this done, but I'm going to have this done by 50 million people. Whereas this Lex does not mind getting his hands dirty at all. Dave, Jordan, let's talk about how you're feeling as this scene is evolving in front of you. Like when he kills that guy, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely thought that it was a more ruthless iteration than has been in the past. Because even none of the other movies show him killing anybody. In fact, I don't think, like not even in Superman Returns with Kevin Spacey, I don't even think he killed anybody directly. Gene Hackman, I don't think so. Eisenberg, I don't think so. Closest he did was he pushed Lois off of the building. But I mean, he definitely played to the more like obsessive, ruthless side of Lex. Yeah, I think he kind of had to play it that way because it's a 2-hour movie. They couldn't really give a lot of range to it, and you really didn't want to feel any kind of sympathy for him because that would be right. You know, you'd have to overcome that in the span of 2 hours. So. But here, I mean, again, this was loaded with like political undertones and stuff, which, you know, it is what it is. Similarity with Man of Steel, though, is he gives himself up and allows them to handcuff him and everything. Right. So that I thought was pretty interesting. And then I do like his reaction to the kryptonite. That's the first time we've really seen that, like it doing visible damage to him. other other iterations, it's like he gets close to the green rock and he just falls down and can't move. But here, like, you're seeing him visibly ill, and he's like wheezing and I thought
Like
that was pretty
poison.
cool. I thought that was a
Yeah.
cool element. Yeah, I really thought that was good imagery.
It's like poison, especially when he says the metamorph. He's like, "Why do you still look bad?" And he's like, "I need the sun. You know, I need the sun." And then, you know, when Metamorpho does it, these people are like, "You're gonna get us killed! Oh my god!" Because they think it's a bomb. They're freaking out. Jordan, let's talk to that, man. Speak to you know, as they make the plan to get away, and Superman says, "Hey, I'll get your son and I'll save him." Give me your thoughts on where you are with that. Well, what are you thinking at that point?
Well, I will say I'm going to touch on the scene where he's in handcuffs. Can we not put Superman in handcuffs in a movie again? Because we need all right. I'm going to set the picture. It's Superman. That's the picture.
Right.
Why are we putting him in handcuffs?
Make ourselves
so that they can show the image of them throwing him to the ground like he's a, you know, well, we know.
Well, like, even in Man of Steel, I was just like, what? Why are we doing this? Like,
I think they explained it and did a better job with it, though. That was one of the more comical parts of that movie, because I think he even says a line where he's like, "Well, it wouldn't have been much of a surrender if I."
I get why Superman does it in all adaptations. When he's in handcuffs, I understand why he does it, because he wants everybody else to feel safe.
Right.
I get that. Totally understand that.
Right.
But the idiocracy of everybody else to be like, we're gonna put this guy in handcuffs
repeatedly.
Right.
Why? But yeah, that's a minor gripe. That's just funny. Yeah, I love that, and the whole humanity aspect of this Superman, and the theme of this movie is humanity. Really is displayed right here when he's trying to like talk to I keep on wanting to call him Element Man.
I wish you guys could hear that song, because that was the element Metamorpho. The element man. Oh my god! I swear to God, when we get off of this podcast, I'm gonna play this song for you guys. You might hate it, but I love it. But anyway, it's Metamorpho. Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, when trying to talk to Metamorpho, like, Metamorpho at the end of the day just wants to see his kid.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do literally anything in his power. If it means killing anybody, he will do that. But Superman trying to get that humanity within Metamorpho is, I mean, it's the main theme of this whole entire movie. I like it.
Well, I think what pushes Metamorpho over the edge is when Luthor just drops that guy and kills him. Because Metamorpho is in tears.
I think that was the turning point.
I cannot believe he just did that. And if he did that to this guy who doesn't even know, he'll do the same thing to my son. We got to figure out a way. Like, I really feel like, at least in my opinion, that's the turning point for Metamorpho in that. Mm-hmm. Like, as soon as he does that, Metamorpho's like, no, we got to work this out. And
and Lex is like maybe I'll take a visit to your old buddy Clark Kent. And I wanted him to be like, yeah, good luck.
Right.
And Lex would have been like, what? Huh?
What? What'd you say? Mm-mm. No. Yeah, man. And the whole thing with where Metamorpho is a resourceful dude to have around, man, because who else could create a sun? Like, you're inside. Who else could create that? You know, and then Superman charges up and he goes and he rescues his kid, and they might like work of the guards. And then, of course, they almost get pulled down the black hole, which, hey, man, crypto might not come when you want him. But, He was on time. He was on time that day. And this leads us into our next slide where Mr. Terrific, I love this dude. Let me tell you
He's
something.
awesome.
That scene where he shows up and makes light work of those guards while keeping Lois Lane in that bubble of protection, that was great. I was like, yes, like Mr. Terrific, low key, was like my second favorite person in this movie. Like he really,
I was gonna say he was almost like and this really didn't. And getting into that, like it didn't feel like it didn't feel like a solo Superman movie. This felt more like the dawn of the Justice Gang than it did like
he said the dawn of the
it
Justice.
just because there was a lot going on. It was like this is the dawn of the Justice Gang introducing Superman. That's what
You
it
know
felt
what?
like.
It was. But let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you this. And it's interesting you say that because I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this the other night, right? Do you think that this Superman, knowing what you know about him now, could have pulled off a solo Superman movie?
I mean, it depends on what story you're talking about. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get another origin story for a very long time. I mean, they might, depending on what they do later, they might do like some flashbacks but I don't think we're ever going to get like a full thing. I think David Cornsweet, who played him, definitely could have carried like his own movie in a different way with a storyline like this, doing with the vulnerability, but like him getting used to everything. Because again, going back to that dialogue he has with Lois, like he almost comes off like a kid in the sense that like he's kind of immature to what the outside perception would be. Not that he's like stupid or anything like that, not to that degree, but he's almost like he's still got that innocence and doesn't really see all the different dynamics of all those other perspectives that people would hold. Like in that sense, he seemed like immature there. So like I could have totally seen him in an origin story type of a movie had it not, because obviously that's been outplayed between shows and movies by now. But I think they definitely could have done one. They could have probably done a solo, standalone with a different storyline. I thought it was cool that they brought an Ultraman. That's the first time I think a live action movie has at least done that. He's been in Smallville and all that and everything too. But this is the first time I've seen him in a movie. If they had a different storyline, they probably could have made that a solo as well. But this, honestly, it did not feel like a solo Superman movie.
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it didn't feel crowded to me. So let's get into this. One of the complaints about this movie is that there were some fans who felt like there was too much going on. There was too much going on. There were too many there were too many heroes. There were too many characters. You didn't get enough time to develop this one. That's how they felt. Now, I didn't feel that way because I felt like even though you did have Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, Guy Grantham, Metamorpho, Ultraman, the Engineer, they all had, it was 2 hours and 10 minutes for a reason. So they all had their own segments, and it did not feel crowded. It did not feel rushed. I didn't feel like there were any unnecessary scenes in there, but I felt like James Gunn is saying, hey, this is the flagship story for this new DC universe. I'm putting it all on black. I'm not going to miss. So I'm not only going to have Superman, I'm going to have Ultraman, I'm going to have Mr. Terrific. You get what I'm saying? It was like he's hedging his bets. That's what because maybe he could have, again, I think the fact that you had other strong characters in there kind of made up for his vulnerability. You get what I'm saying? That's just me. Jordan, give me your thoughts.
Well, like I told you before you saw the movie, it felt like a sequel to a Superman movie that I had never seen. So, and like I love origin stories. They
You do.
suck me in because
You do.
every iteration of one character can be totally different.
Yep.
Look at, and we do know the general aspects, but if, like, I always tell people, look at the Spider-Man trilogy. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I mean, we really don't even know Tom Holland's origin story, but Andrew Garfield to Tobey Maguire's is so different. Looking at the 80s and 90s Batman and that Bruce Wayne turning the Batman origin story, very different than the Christian Bale story, very different from Ben Affleck's story that we see glimpses of at the beginning of Batman versus Superman. So I love origin stories. I'm not a huge fan of just getting thrown into a universe, and was sort of my gripe with the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and I love that movie, just like I really enjoyed this movie too. But it felt like you were getting thrown into it. Seeing a Justice Gang already formed, like, I don't know these people.
Right.
I know the characters. Hawkgirl is one of my favorite characters because I loved her in the animated series of the Justice League. And also the actress who plays her is fantastic outside of Dora, because she played Dora and also Madam Web. She always gets into these terrible little projects here and there, but she is a fantastic actress, and I can't wait to see more of her. And
we got to do Madam Web, right?
I don't even want to talk about anything Madam Web. That movie
providing you. I'm just saying.
That movie gives me headaches. That is all right. Short rant. That is the worst comic book movie ever made. That's short rant.
Is. It's awful. That and the Eternals. They're both terrible. They're bad.
Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is perfect because I saw something. This person online said that her and her boyfriend went. She didn't know anything about comics or anything. She was just going to see this with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend knew a lot about the comics, and at the end she was like, am I supposed to like this guy, Guy Gardner? And he's like, oh, no, you're not. And she's like, oh, and she's like, oh, and he's like, that's why this is so, like, he's doing such a great job because you're not supposed to like him. He's supposed to be just a jerk. And so he just does a great job. And then Mr. Terrific is just fantastic. He's terrific. He's terrific. I need that meme from Fan 4 Stick where Mr. Fantastic looks at the thing and says, say that again. So he is terrific. And I'm so glad he's getting a role in DC because the actor was done dirty in X-Men First Class.
He really was.
Someone who could adapt to anything dies because he couldn't adapt.
That's irony.
Yeah, it was stupid. But I love that he's doing a great job in this. He was definitely a standout. There was rumors after this, depending on how the movie does, that he could get his own little show. I'd be like, you know what? I'm game for it. I mean, I'm open for it. I mean, if we're getting a Peacemaker show, I'm definitely game for Mr. Terrific. But I don't know these characters. That's why we need shows and stuff like that. It was my big gripe with Black Adam was I don't know the Justice Society. I don't know these people. I know the characters from other stuff, but the comics and stuff, but I don't know them in this universe because they are different people. Just like the Jor-El in this movie is different from Jor-El in other movies because this one's a bad one.
Right.
So yeah, I'm more of a origin story, and yeah, this was. I mean, if we had an origin story to this movie, and that was a really good movie, just maybe like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, you'd be like, this was a great follow up to that first movie. This was a fantastic sequel to that movie, but it's a fantastic sequel to a movie we'll never get. That's my main issue with this movie.
I feel like you insulted it and praised it at the same time. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Dave,
It
you're
was
muted.
almost like, yeah, I know. I just now caught that. It felt like you pick up a comic in the store and it's like in the middle of like a series because they have the new 52 and all that, and then you're like, well, this one was cool. I want to find like the first issue
Mhm.
and see like what all happened and everything. But yeah, I know that they have another project planned, Superman Legacy. I don't know if that's meant to be prequel or whatnot, but I would be interested to see what his iteration of the origin thing would be. I doubt that they'll go in that because I would like to see that, but I don't know that a lot of other people would either. I think the main objective with these is to get a broad audience. So I don't know. It would be cool. I'd like to see where he goes with it, to go back and do like a prequel type deal where he gives his take on the whole beginnings of Clark Kent and Superman and all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right.
We'll
So
see.
we will see. So they are rescued, but the rescue destabilizes the pocket world, threatening Metropolis with the black hole. Now, let me tell you something, man. I don't know if you guys know about black holes. They're nothing to play with. Okay? Luther, you are a maniacal, just egomaniac. Like, I hate that guy. Anyway, because of what he does later. This is a random picture of Clark, and you know what? It has no meaning here, and I just didn't feel like taking it out, so I didn't. But while we're on Clark, let's talk about the fact that he really puts effort in. So the suit is a size too big, probably for the Superman suit, or because he wants to appear clumsy. I don't know. His glasses apparently fit. He's trying to appear awkward, right, is what I'm saying. Like, he's really giving it effort in trying to appear awkward. So I thought they did that well. And I also thought what was funny is when Jimmy's talking to Lois and it was like, yeah, that guy really kicked Superman's ass. And he's like, well, he didn't really kick his ass. I mean, he might have gotten the best of him a little bit, but he didn't really kick his ass. And I thought that was funny because I probably would do something like that, right? Matter of fact,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dave kicks my ass at Madden all the time. So, I mean, as a matter of fact, Jordan, this is the guy I was telling you about that came to my house.
This is the guy.
Right,
Okay.
ate my food, and kicked my ass in Madden.
Nice.
And that's
Nice.
probably exactly like
With Cleveland. With Cleveland.
Oh, you lost to
Indeed,
Cleveland?
indeed.
Oh,
You know what?
man.
We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about Superman. That was just an example, and we're going to.
Well, speaking of Cleveland, that is in fact where a lot of it was filmed, by the way.
It was. Interesting fact. I just saw that the other night.
Yeah. So quick
Yeah.
segue into Cleveland. There is this spot, and actually, Terry, I'll send you pictures of this. There's a display in the Cleveland Hopkins Airport there's like a Superman statue, and then they've got blurbs about the different buildings of Metropolis. They're all actually patterned off of buildings from downtown Cleveland. It's actually really, really cool because obviously the writers and stuff are from Ohio. If for whoever doesn't know that story, but yeah, it's really cool. It's by I think it's like in the somewhere in the departures section where they have it. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's where they filmed a lot of it because we would get a lot of like in the local news, they were talking about casting for it and everything. And yeah, so
that's what's up, man.
But then they just green screened the hell out of the movie because I didn't recognize a whole lot of what they showed in the actual movie, other than those were probably Clevelanders running in the street. But
hey, man, well, they did a good job, right?
Yeah.
So But yeah, I did see that. I did see that a couple of the writers were from Cleveland. And also, all of the streets in the movie that you see are named after writers. I thought that was really cool. I didn't know. They're named after Superman writers. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, man, this is the guy that kicks my ass in Madden, Jordan. So
I do want to shout out the Jimmy Olsen in this movie
Oh
is
man, yeah.
comic accurate, just the perfect iteration. When I heard Skylar Gisondo was going to be playing this guy, I was like, he's going to do fantastic. He's gonna have a great. If he has a great script, he's going to be the perfect Jimmy Olsen. This is the perfect Jimmy Olsen. I have never seen in live action. I don't know how if Jimmy Olsen is in Smallville. I don't know how, if he is. I don't know how well he's done. But this is the perfect Jimmy Olsen in any live action that I have seen. Just great. I mean, he's got photos of him with two girls next to him. And
the ladies love him.
But his hand placement is like his hands aren't even on them. And they're like hovering.
The ladies love him.
He looks like Keanu Reeves in those photos where he's with a girl and he's just not necessarily touching them because he's trying to be polite. Like,
right.
This is perfect. I loved it. So yeah, shout out to Skylar Gisondo for his portrayal as Jimmy Olsen. It was perfect.
I'm not gonna ask that question. I'll ask it off air. But
yes, is your answer.
Because honestly, like when the ladies are like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "Are they looking at Clark?" You know what I mean? I'm like, who are they looking at? Like
that storyline with him and was it Tess? Was it Tessmacher? Miss Tessmacher? Yeah. Was that the one that had the
Luther's girlfriend?
It was new for me because I'm not familiar with all the different versions of him. So I only know him from the movies and from Smallville. Smallville, he doesn't play like as much of a, I don't want to say like nerdy character, but he is kind of like an off to the side nerdy kind of, and a lot of the other versions, and all of that. But this was funny as heck, and I love that storyline with him and Lex's girlfriend. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah,
that was great. That was such a good comedic element that they put in the movie.
Especially when he was like, how much time?
And I think if you would have made it more of like a Man of Steel-ish movie with the Jimmy Olsen love story, that would have been such an awesome movie. What a combination that would have been.
They're on the phone and she's like, well, if we can spend the weekend together. And he's like, the whole weekend?
Right.
She's begging him. Right. She's begging him, and then he's like, well, not the whole weekend.
Right.
That was fantastic.
And there's literally seconds before she's about to get taken. So you're watching it like, just say whatever you got to say, Jimmy. Come on, man. What the hell is wrong with you? He's like, the whole weekend?
She's like hanging on every word he's saying. And it was just, that was just so great. That whole thing with them two was just so great. Every bit of it.
I was like, Jimmy, you're gonna get us all killed. Like, what? The whole weekend?
I know.
Jimmy, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You say whatever you gotta say. You moron. What are you doing? The whole weekend?
And I'll tell you, you're not even the good-looking one in that combination. Like, you're not even the better-looking one in that combination.
Bro, and all the ladies in that office were like, "Oh, check it." I'm like, "What are they?
That's Jimmy Olsen, though, in the comics. That's totally Jimmy Olsen. This is perfect.
I missed that. I totally missed that. Okay. Hey, that's what you say, Jordan. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a young thing. Like, I don't know this dude. Like, maybe, maybe he's got swag, and I don't know. I'm sitting up there for the whole 5 minutes. I'm looking at it like, what the hell are they looking at? Like, why are they so into Jimmy Olsen, right? And then when she calls him and she's like, yeah, I'll do it. I just want to spend the weekend. I'm thinking, Jimmy, it's just a weekend. What the hell? Like, Metropolis is about to be destroyed, man. Sometimes you got to take one for the team. What are you doing, Jimmy? And he's like, the whole weekend? I mean, are we talking like in dog years, or what are we saying? Like, and I'm like, dude. So I don't know. That was crazy. But anyway.
Another character, since you've got this up about the Justice Gang, that I think they did better than anybody else so far was Hawk Girl.
Oh yeah,
I've seen versions of her that not in a whole lot. It's not like there was like staggering competition, because there haven't been like but she was cool as heck in this movie. They really did a good job with her. Isabella Merced.
Well, I
If I
thought
said that
she
right.
was the perfect. She played very well with Guy.
Yeah,
Because he's
yeah, the
such an
two of them.
asshole.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would have to take somebody with her personality to deal with him on an everyday basis. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you could just tell he's that guy at work that's like, oh shit. He's just extra. He just does the freaking most. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, man. He's the guy in the meetings when it's Friday at 5 o'clock and everybody's trying to leave and he's asking 15 questions. I got another one. Hey, man, shut up, okay? We're trying to leave. We're trying to get our weekend started. Ask your question on Monday. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah, they show up in Baravia, whatever. And, they kick some ass. And so one of the greatest scenes is when Green Lantern shoots them the birds.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
great, bro.
Awesome.
I did not mean to do that. Anyway, I just sorry. I was trying
canceled.
to display it. Sorry. Sorry, America, if you're watching that. That wasn't for you. But I thought that was cool. I thought that was a very creative use of his power. And I thought that was funny. You know what I mean? I like that. I like when he put the muzzle around the Gaiju's mouth. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. But I really liked that when he was like, yeah, you guys take that. Hey, let's talk about that encounter. Let's talk about that fight. Give me your thoughts on it. Give me your thoughts on future iterations of the Justice Gang. And Dave, let's start with you.
Yeah, Mr. Terrific was probably the best one. Maybe of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Out of everybody. Him, I liked Hawk Girl. Guy Gardner, not my I'm a Hal Jordan guy when it comes to the Green Lantern. Like that's my favorite version of the Green Lantern. But I do like the attitude. I kind of gravitate towards the heelish kind of characters. So I did like that. I liked when he did the middle fingers at the end was great. But yeah, I liked his interactions with Hawk Girl. So I know that they're planning on doing a Green Lanterns series or what have you. So I hope that they show more of her on there and those kind of interactions and everything. Would have liked to have seen that. But I liked them in the movie. Not really familiar with a lot of like Mr. Terrific, that version of Green Lantern. Obviously, I've never seen or read any comics with them in it, but yeah, I liked every bit of them. I thought they were just a good combination overall. I didn't have any issues with any of them. But Hawk Girl, I've seen like different versions, and I think they had one in Smallville. I think they had her in The Flash briefly. It wasn't very long, but yeah, she knocked it out of the park. She was her and Mr. Terrific were my favorite of that group.
She was great. Jordan, thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't really know much about Mr. Terrific. Like I've seen glimpses of him in like the animated shows. That's really it. I don't really know much about Mr. Terrific at all. Like I said, Hawk Girl is I love the Hawk Girl character. Seen her in animated shows. I mean, I liked her iteration of the original Justice League animated series. And yeah, like with Green Lantern, I didn't know there. All right, my backstory with the Green Lantern character is I was first introduced to Justice League with Justice League the animated series. So John Stewart is my Green Lantern.
Right.
I had no idea who Hal Jordan was until I saw Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan. So I had a bad introduction to Hal Jordan.
Yes, you did.
But I will say this Lantern show casted two fantastic actors to play Hal Jordan and John Stewart. I can't wait for that show. And if, from what I've heard with Guy Gardner in the comics, that this is the most accurate representation of who he is visually and like dialogue wise.
With the bowl cut, yeah.
Then honestly, he did exactly what I expected him to do. I thought when I heard Nathan Fillion was going to be playing him, I was like, this is just James Gunn getting his buddy into a movie. But he actually he proved me wrong.
nailed
He
it.
actually
Yeah.
he
He
nailed
did
it.
nail it. Yeah, he did. He totally nailed it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. All right, so now we get to the final battle, and Ultraman / Future Bizarro / Lex Luthor's Mortal Kombat figure and Superman go at it, and of course the engineer go at it, and Crypto tries to help him out, and Mr. Terrific tries to help him out, and they get after it. And look, it was a great fight. It was everything we wanted to see. I got so sick of B1, 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 B1. I got so sick of that. But I was so glad when Superman finally figured out, you know what, Lex is controlling him. Let me destroy these cameras. Let me do that. And as soon as he does that, oh, shit now. Let's go. And Superman whoops that ass and throws him into a black hole. And now it's on. Because now there's nothing between Superman and Lex Luthor. And I really enjoyed when Ultraman got thrown into that black hole. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed it. Now, what I really enjoyed is after that, Superman goes to see Lex, and you know what's kind of cool when that compartment in between the building, the two towers, turned into a ship. I thought that was kind of cool. I got to be honest, but Lex is still a jerk. But when Superman shows up there, and Crypto shows up there, and Superman is like, look, man, I'm just human. You know, I'm human because I make mistakes. And Lex is still like, no, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Crypto, and excuse me for saying this, bitch slapped him. I stood up. I thought it was great. This is my favorite part of the movie. I was so happy that somebody finally shut him up. I thought it was great. I'm going to shut up now, and you guys tell me your thoughts on the scene. Tell me what you thought. Give me all of your info regarding that.
I mean, I loved. I thought it was very creative for him to realize, like, after the nanites are going all up in him, to go. I thought he was going to go into space and they were going to freeze. That's what I thought was going to happen. But then he immediately turns around and just starts being a projectile down to earth, realizing, okay, this is going to knock them out. And he's blind doing this. But this what probably showed Superman's strength the most of any scene in this entire movie. Him, because they're still trying to beat the crap out of him. And he's still just going up into space and falling down, not breaking any sort of movement. Yeah. So it probably showed the best version of the strength of the Superman. Yeah. Really smart. And then we get introduced to, like, Ultraman being a clone of Superman, which I think this is going to. I think there's a possibility we get a Bizarro world of Justice League characters. And that's, I think, where he goes is where because there's a comic book storyline where he goes to a different universe and starts his own Earth. And that's where you get the Bizarro world. And I think we might be getting that sort of thing. If not, oh well, I didn't really like, there wasn't I mean, he looked like a clone of him. He didn't really look like he could be Bizarro. I mean, I'm sure in future movies, if he comes back, they'll make the makeup look a little more bizarre. But otherwise, I was like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. Superman telling Crypto to play fetch and get the drones and stuff. That was really fun. I love that scene. And the speech that he gives to Lex is, in my opinion, I don't think we've gotten a speech like that in a Superman movie before from a Superman. It was like, I was listening to him talk, and I'm like a lot of people, when they've been posting about this movie, and the positive reaction I'm getting is that, like, people are like, depressed with their current situation in life, and then they go see this movie and they come out and they're like very appreciative and like they're more positive.
Yeah.
And this scene really is the driving impact of that.
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, this is Superman. You could take that dialogue and put it into any movie of any genre, and it will give people that sense of hope that Superman gives.
Yeah.
So I love the dialogue in that, and I love that Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor just straight up doesn't care what he said. He delivered what I call a Morgan Freeman quote, because Morgan Freeman gives the best quotes of anyone in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then Krypto's like, all right, I was shocked that they had Krypto attack him. Because
I loved it.
that, if you're I know a lot of people who are traumatized by dogs, and like whether they've attacked them or other people. So I'm a little shocked that they made it into the movie, especially as like I thought he was just gonna like swing him around kind of like Hulk does with Loki in the beginning of Avengers. Like I thought he was gonna do that with him. I was gonna be like, but no, he straight up like goes and starts wailing on him and biting him and stuff.
I loved it.
I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. I like it. I loved it. But I love this.
Yeah.
I was so
I feel like that needed to happen because of how they mistreated the dog earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And you know, you talked about they deleted a scene where they were going to punch him. And I think one of the reasons they probably deleted it is because they didn't want to kill off Lex Luthor in the very first movie, because that's what they probably would have had to do to appease people if they'd have showed that dog getting punched by a human being. He would have had to kill him.
Yeah.
For him to get the proper amount of retribution. But he was mistreated, so yeah, he did have to beat him violently. I wasn't really that surprised, because when they showed the dog in that thing and they're playing those images and I'm like, he's jacking somebody up by the end of this movie. And as it got later and later, there's no way you're finishing the movie after tormenting this dog and he gets no retribution. There's no way. There's no way. So when they finally got there, I was like, oh, he's about to toss this dude. He is definitely, there's nobody left right now. There's nobody left for him to jack up properly to make things right with the universe we live in today. So yeah, not a surprise to me, because I saw that coming a mile away, but I didn't know who it was going to be. I mean, up until we got to that scene where there's nobody else left but Lex in there, and it wouldn't have been enough for him to have beaten one of the other people, you know, doing the B1, B5 or whatever in the little control room. It had to be Lex at that point. So once we got there, I was not surprised that I was like, yeah, that's it, and he's gonna get him. But
I do want to point out one thing about this. The beginning of this fight, when they are evacuating the city, I think they evacuated the city. I think this is the repercussions of Man of Steel. I think, and they did this with Avengers: Age of Ultron too.
Yep.
So Man of Steel obviously had that destroying the whole city. I mean, people died in that. I mean, but it was a realistic adaptation of if you had two people of Superman's powers, two Kryptonians, two aliens coming to Earth, and with these powers, they would destroy all of that. That's realistic. People would die. And I have no problem with that. I have no idea why Hollywood decided to flip the script and say like, oh no, we can't have all those people die. No, that's a learning lesson. That's a life lesson. That's a lesson for that universe to be like in the future, we need to have plans for these. So like when you see Avengers: Age of Ultron, instead most of that final battle is them saving people, but they are kicking these Ultron's butts. And then this movie, this is where I got to this scene and I'm like, they wanted this movie to be the complete opposite of Man of Steel.
Yeah, they
and
did.
that's
They did.
what
They
it
did.
was.
Yeah.
It was the complete opposite. It wasn't realistic. It was comic booky. It was I mean, people were actually dying versus everybody's safe. Oh, it just so happens every single person of Metropolis got evacuated. I want to make this clear. If something was happening in New York City and we had
there's no way.
If we had an evacuation plan for New York City, there's no way we're getting everybody in New York out of there.
No.
People are going to die then. So this was definitely the repercussions of Man of Steel.
Mhm.
I do want to say that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of that, especially with like the typical he threw Ultraman into the black hole as opposed to snapping somebody's neck at the end. I know that in particular rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with Man of Steel. But again, like everything is subjective.
When he broke Zod's neck? You're saying when he broke Zod's neck?
Yeah, in Man of Steel. So, I mean, that's the kind of writer that Zack Snyder is, or at least director. And he wanted to tell a more realistic story. And in real life, like people die, and in real life, if you have to choose, so that scene I thought was really powerful, and I think it did show. I think both movies showed Superman's humanity, but in different ways.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people, people pick the images that they don't like, and they kind of like hang on that as the defining
That's true.
things of that character. I don't think people gave Man of Steel a fair shot when it came to his humanity, because in that particular scene when Zod
doesn't want to do it.
He doesn't want to. He really doesn't want to do it. He's yelling and pleading, like, "Please no!" But at the end of the day, if it's between you and this innocent family and this guy, and the guy is literally shielding his family from this, and he's not going to let that happen. And the only option he has in that situation
is to break his neck.
Yeah,
because he's shooting out rays out of his eyes.
But instead of a lot of people looking at the substance, exactly like how we just talked about it, most people shotgun the internet with Superman killed somebody in his first new movie. Like that's what everybody hung on, and that's why it was such a problem. I know that we're not going to get into the whole Warner's versus Snyder thing, but I mean, obviously his vision was not as bright and pretty like they wanted it to be, and this is more like up their alley. And I think that I think there was a lot of, this is making a statement. We're not doing any of that. He's not killing anybody. He's going to throw every bad guy into space, and no innocent bystanders are going to die. Everybody's going to get out safely. And if they're fighting when everybody's occupied, everybody's just going to stop and go home until next time. Like they did in the beginning of the movie. Like it was just, like whatever, bro. Like okay, cool. Like, but give us more like good stories of Superman. I got no problem with it. I'll suspend disbelief all day. I'm not going to hate on anybody's, thing because it's not the one that I like better or whatever. But if I have to pick between the two, ultimately, I'm going with Man of Steel. But I like this one, and I'm probably going to see every other movie he puts out that has to do with this, unless he just, goes off and does something just horribly, horribly wrong with the character.
So I want to talk about Man of Steel for a minute, because he did not, and I'm gonna be honest with you. So Jordan and I have been, we did the Batman Begins series, and then we came back and did the Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Justice League series, and looking at it 13 years later, it was so much better to me.
It holds up. Like
that was
the thing. So that was the thing. When people talk about, we're 12 years removed from that. And a lot of people, the humanity this, and, obviously the stuff with the, immigrants, and he's from another place and all that stuff, that was all there. And that, like, go back, for anybody who hasn't seen it recently, go back and watch it. It's all there. It's just not, he's just not getting the shit kicked out of him through 80% of the movie but the humanity is definitely there, and him, getting accustomed. And there's a scene in the beginning, and I'm glad we talked about this more, because I almost forgot to bring this up. So I'm watching the movie and I'm kind of like, and I'm thinking about like all of the like the negative reactions people had to it, and like, oh well, it's just him, exerting his power throughout the whole movie, and that's why like people didn't gravitate towards it. So if you look at the type of person that he was, and like if you go from the very beginning of that movie, one of the first parts that they show is he's on a ship and a guy saves him.
Yeah.
So like if you look at both his Kryptonian father and his Kansas father and everything in that movie, they're trying to instill in him to look for the goodness in people.
Right.
And all of that. And one of the first things that happens is another guy, well, seemingly saves his life because he obviously doesn't know about, his ability. He pushes him. There's like this big cage that's going to fall down and everything. So like everything in that movie is completely identifiable. Like I feel like there was just far better storytelling in that one, like far and away. Like it's not even close. Like I like this one. It had so many good things about it, but at the same, like if you're just going off of storytelling, way better storytelling. And
without a doubt.
There was so much humanity, and the point being driven home about, regardless of where somebody comes from, it's more about the substance and the content of their character that really, because like when he saw that, he kind of looks back at the guy for a moment, and I like forgot about that part. I'd watched it, I don't know how many times, but when I saw it again most recently, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this guy tries to save him. It makes so much sense. And if you take that from the very beginning and you go back to the very end where this innocent guy who's trying to protect his family is about to die, like how do you not understand that? How do you not get that?
It's just,
that was needed.
It's a different generation, but I got to be honest with you. Going back and watching that movie again, there are two things that stuck out to me. And it's interesting you bring that scene up because with everything in him, he did not want to do that. As a matter of fact, he pleads with him no. And when he does it, he damn near is in tears.
He screams. Yeah.
He damn near is in tears. And then the other part that I remember, and this stuck out to me, my mom died May 16th last year. But when they're in the car and they're having that argument, he's like, "You're not my real dad." Shout out to Brad. We work with a guy, Jordan, that says it all the time. "You're not my real dad." So but he says that, and then the tornado is coming upon them, and there's no time. And so Clark gets his mom out. They get everybody up under the underpass, and Kevin Costner has to go back for the dog, and he gets the dog out. And there's a moment between Kevin Costner and
Henry Cavill
or
Clark, yeah,
where he looks at him, and Kevin Costner goes, "No." He puts his hand up as if to say, "No, I know I'm going to die." The
secret was more important. Keeping the secret was more important.
But if you look at his face, you can see this is my dad. This is my dad. He's about to die. And and there was so much emotion in there. And that was humanity. Think about it. I'm gonna save my dad. I don't give a damn what. I'm gonna save my dad. Fuck it. Y'all just gonna find out today. Y'all gonna find out today. Okay? I'm gonna save my dad. I'm gonna save my mom. I'm not gonna let any one of my family members die in front of me. You know the discipline you gotta have for that? And look at humanity is not just vulnerability. Like that's what my takeaway from this film. Humanity is many things. Humanity can be angst. Humanity can be discipline. Humanity can be being reserved. Humanity can be being vulnerable. It's all of that. But in that moment, I remember that moment. Jordan, you and I talked about that. But the look on his face when my mom was getting ready to go and I'm trying to do everything I can, she looked at me one day and was just like, "I'm ready to go." She couldn't talk, but she looked at me, and that's the look that he gives Clark, like, "You're my son. I love you. The world is not ready, and your destiny is too big. Just let me go." And that is deep.
And that
That-
part
that
holds
is-
up today because they sacrificed a human life for the freaking dog. So for everybody out there
Right,
who
right,
feels that dogs
right,
are more important than people like
right,
they did in this new
right,
movie,
right.
they saved the dog over Kevin Costner. So
Right.
calm down.
Right,
Everybody calm down.
right. So, but that was my thing. Again, I agree with you. I like Man of Steel better. But whatever. Look, I'm not taking away from this movie. This was a good movie, but I just don't want to be swept up in this thing of, well, the only way to be human is to be vulnerable. No, because there are times you shouldn't be vulnerable. Look, you can't be vulnerable with everybody. There's some folks, if you're vulnerable with, they're going to take advantage. Like if he's ever vulnerable with General Zod, that's going to be a real quick movie. That's going to be a real quick movie. Bam.
Yeah.
So,
and if we're comparing the top villains, because obviously there's no Lex in Man of Steel, they had Zod. But if you're comparing the villains in the two, Michael Shannon takes it for me in Man of
without
Steel.
a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
His Zod, like everything he's another one where like there's not a single thing I've seen of him where he hasn't knocked it out of the park. Between Boardwalk Empire, the new Waco series that they had on Showtime, everything I've ever seen him in, that dude just absolutely nails it.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal. The range on him is incredible, and the way he played Zod in that movie, the kind of like cold-hearted, like military general type, and like he just absolutely killed it. He did. Far and away.
He did. And the word on the street is he was not a fan of Zack Snyder. He was one that did not. I don't think he and Snyder got along. So I thought that was interesting. But
I will say, Man of Steel will age even better over time.
Oh yeah,
because if you look at all the Superman movies that we've gotten, with all the Christopher Reeves movies, all 4 of those, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and now this new Superman movie, all of them, if you take away Man of Steel, all of the others are kind of go along the same vibe and energy, versus Man of Steel is a realistic adaptation that is completely different than these. So a lot of people 30, 40, 50 years from now are going to be like, yeah, he kind of does the same thing in all 6 of these movies. But in Man of Steel, that's very different.
Yeah.
It's the same way that you look at, you look at like the let's go with the Batman 4 movies in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first 2 are great. They're realistic adaptations to a point. But then you get comic booky and you start to look like other movies like Batman Forever and then Batman and Robin especially. You start to go down the path that like those movies are just like any other movie that you could watch theme wise. But when you go back and you watch the first Batman movie, you feel the difference in quality and the themes and how realistic it is. So when you go back and watch all the Superman movies, you're going to look at Man of Steel because it's different and because it's a realistic adaptation versus all the others are a similar thought process.
Yeah,
I agree. I think, and I've seen it a lot, but I hadn't seen it in a while until the day that I went to go and see the new Superman movie. I watched it before, and it holds up incredibly well. I can't remember. It might have been years. But it holds up incredibly well for it. And I thought it wasn't that long ago. It was 2013, so it's already over 12 years, and it speaks to everything. Obviously the political topics with somebody being different coming in and living there and all that stuff, that was all there in that one. And even before, now it's like, not that it hasn't always been there in society, but it's like, obviously with all the social media that's out there now, and it's like pretty much everybody's on and everything. It's more to the forefront now than it was before. But if you go back and watch that, like it touches on all of those topics that are like extremely still relevant and more at the forefront today and everything for people who are looking for that within a Superman movie or whatever. But yeah, because he was like making it a point to them, like, yeah, you shouldn't be controlling me. You should embrace me because I'm similar to you. He was like, I'm from Kansas. You can't get you can't get more. It's like I might not have been born here, but I've been here for a really long time, and again, relevant today, right?
Yeah, definitely. So Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen published the proof that Luthor orchestrated the whole Bolivia conflict and faked the hologram. And Lois confesses her. Well, okay, we'll get into that, but I just thought it was so great that they embarrassed him the way he had embarrassed Superman. I was happy when he was arrested. And yeah, I was sick of Luthor by then. So, I was glad he got arrested. I'm not going to give him any more press. I was so done with him by then. He's a great villain, because, a lot of times I'm really ambiguous about villains. You know what I mean? Okay, he's doing his job or whatever. But I really did not like Lex Luthor by the end of the movie. And I'm not going to say that his demise rose to the level of Joffrey from where's Joffrey from, Dave? Game of Thrones. Jordan, you hadn't seen Game of Thrones, but suffice it to say, Joffrey is the devil.
I haven't either.
Oh, you haven't?
I've heard about that.
Damn.
I've heard about that. Was it you and Brad? I think we're talking about.
Yeah, Joffrey's the devil, like literally. And I'm not proud to admit this, but I've watched Joffrey's death about 15 times. Like that's how happy I was that he died. That's how much he was literally Satan's son. He was evil. Okay, and it didn't rise to the level of that, but I was very happy to see. Damn it, Braves! I was very happy to see Luthor get it in the end. Like I hated him. I didn't hate him. I just didn't like it. But of course, Superman and Lois, meet up after the conflict is over, and Perry and Jimmy are talking about it. And Jimmy's like, "Yeah, I think they've been dating for 3 months," and he's like, "Yeah, that makes sense." So we get that everybody knows that they've been dating. And one of my favorite parts of the movie, which I thought was really great, was when he sweeps Lois up, flies up into the center of the mall or whatever structure they're in, and they kiss. I thought that was cool. Look, if I was Superman, I'd love to do that to my wife. Like, I'd love to just pick her up and fly up in there. And, I just think that would be so cool. So I thought that was great. I thought that was a great way to end it. And that was one of my favorite parts. There were some parts in here I didn't like. We talked about them. But that one, I really did like the way that ending. I thought it was comic booky, movie-esque. I thought it was great. Dave, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, the ending, the speech that he gave at the end, I think just because, in my mind, I'm already thinking about how it's marketed, how the movie begins. It felt like it was overwritten. It was like, we're going to show you the previews of the movie that we want you to understand that he's more vulnerable. We want to start the movie off to let you know that he's more vulnerable. And at the end, we're basically going to recap everything about how vulnerable he is and about this is a story of humanity. By the end of the movie, I got it. I didn't need the monologue was cool and all that he did at the end. And if it inspired people, then that's great. But it felt like it was overwritten. I was like, you kind of got there without him having to say all of that. We got it. Any movie, and it's a lot for people who know anything about pro wrestling, you start off with a character who just gets beaten. Maybe not to the degree he was in this movie, but it's you're getting fans to feel sympathy for this character, and you're building towards him shining or him winning by the end of the movie, that kind of thing. And they did that. They really did that by the end of the movie. They didn't need the on the nose monologue at the end. I thought he delivered it great. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just I didn't like the fact that they just continually beat, kind of almost to the point of shoving it down everybody's throat throughout the movie. Like we got it. Like you wrote it well enough to where you didn't need to like spell it out specifically at
understand.
the end
Yeah, we understand.
and everything. I thought they did that well. Like I mean, you have this good guy babyface character that you know you really want to see him win. You want to see him overcome all of this at the end, and especially the point about the show of strength when he's flying up and then he goes straight down. I agree with all that. Like they did that. He accomplished that without having to do that. I do like how Nicholas Hoult immediately was like, yeah, whatever, to the line. Absolutely love that. I thought that was great. And that was like that's what you know, your quintessential bad guy character is supposed to do. I just thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really didn't I didn't not like it, but they could have just left it alone because the writing was so good to get him over as a hero character for everybody to, you know, be glad overcame everything at the end to where he didn't necessarily need to go into all that, but you know, they did it. And then, you know, Lois loves him now. So all is well. But I did feel some of it was rushed, though. There was a lot. I feel like stuff was rushed. Again, like picking up a middle issue of a series that's probably really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to like go back and like what led up to this.
It's fair.
Kind of thing.
Jordan, thought?
I will say I think that it kind of sucks. So I didn't really watch a lot of the trailers. I don't really. I tend to watch the first teaser trailer and the first trailer for every movie, and then after that, I don't watch it. Like I had someone tell me today that they're like, I saw the newest trailer for Fantastic Four accidentally. I didn't know this was going to be happening, and I was just thought it was going to be something different. This is crazy. Basically spoiling it. I haven't seen any other trailers for Fantastic Four. Plus, I kind of already know the whole thought process of that movie. But with his whole monologue, there are a lot of chunks of it. I mean, I would say almost all of it is put into trailers. And so you kind of, you know, it's coming. And it's like, I think they maybe over marketed some, or you can't really over market anything, but you could have made it a little bit more ominous in the trailers the way it was done. You didn't have to reveal a lot,
right?
Which I thought the trailers were cut really well, but I think some of the dialogue could have been removed, and because I didn't know what I was getting into if you watch the trailers. Like if you watch the trailers, you just see fights. You see him swooping up Lois. You see him yelling with Lois in that argument in the interview. You see Lex with that picture of him getting angry and stuff. That's really it. That's a great trailer because nobody has any idea what this movie is going to be about.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's going to be a Superman movie, but the story itself, you don't know. But then you add in that dialogue and it's like, okay, you kind of understand what the theme of this movie is going to be. And plus James Gunn goes and just straight up tells us like, this movie is going to be about humanity. Like, all right, thanks for letting us know the whole theme of this movie.
Yeah. Well, let's get into, so Superman's drunk cousin shows up and he's like, this is why the dog is so screwed up, because you see her, she goes to planets with red suns and gets drunk because that's what she does. And would she flick him the bird or tell him or something like that, and then grabs the dog and leaves. So that was something. Jordan, talk about that. You clearly are a fan of this scene. Let's talk about it.
I loved Supergirl the show. I want to say that. I have not watched Supergirl, the movie that's technically in the same universe as Christopher Reeve's Superman, but it's on my watch list. And I always thought the idea of Supergirl is like, I just straight up don't care. But when they said that they're gonna do the the Woman of Tomorrow storyline for her movie, I was like, that's a great storyline. In fact, it is 100 times better than this storyline that we got for Superman. And that's nothing against this storyline for Superman. That's this, like, Supergirl next year could be a lot better than this movie. I mean, her being drunk is because in the comics, she loses. All right, I'm a quick backstory of the Supergirl character. I don't know if they're going to do this for the movie or not. I don't know, but she is sent off from Krypton just like him, but she goes and she's with her family, and so the Krypton dies. So a small portion of Kryptonians are a part of this like society, this like floating flat earth looking thing with a dome on it, and then like invaders attack. She has to watch her family die. All of this like new Kryptonian society dies, and she is the last person left. So she drinks in the comics because she's been through a lot. How I can compare her storyline is what Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker goes through in Spider-Man 2. Just he goes through so much in that movie that I understand why he lost his powers. And it didn't click in my head for about 15 years after that movie came out. Why, like, I couldn't understand the movie until then. And to this day, there are movie reviewers that I watch that still don't understand that movie. She goes through a lot, and she is not this nice person like Clark. She didn't grow up with family like in Kansas and stuff like that. So she has had an awful life, and her look in this, her vibe in this, her saying basically being drunk, and Superman being like, she's just doing that, she's just being drunk and stuff, because he doesn't know what she's been through. So I can't wait for this movie. I don't know much about Millie Alcock, the actress. I don't know much about her, but I didn't know what vibe she would be bringing. But after seeing this, I'm set for Supergirl to be one of the top movies next year. And it's going to be one of my most anticipated films of next year. And next year's got a lot of movies. The Odyssey comes out. Avengers Doomsday comes out. There's a lot of movies. This is easily going to be in the top 5 most anticipated movies for next year for me.
How do you feel about it, Dave? Thoughts?
Yeah, same. I can see that being, because I feel like that's going to be like a more solo movie. Now I could be wrong, because this one was called Superman, and I thought it was mainly going to be about Superman. So we'll see.
Gang. It was Superman, Dawn of the Justice Gang.
If they tell that story next year, I think it easily beats this one, which is cool. Because again, like, I want them to be able to tell more stories, because at the end of the day, I'm just a Superman guy. So like, whatever makes it to where you keep making more stories. Because what was it? After the Christopher Reeve movie stopped, the next one that they did was Superman Returns in 2006, and then they followed that up 7 years later with Man of Steel. And all of that. And then, of course, that led into in my opinion, a great series with Zack Snyder. But, I mean, there's been, like, really long gaps and everything where we just didn't get any stories of Superman whatsoever. But, yeah, so, I mean, I'm glad this one's successful. I hope it does even better and everything. I think they've already got confidence enough to where, like, I even read something online that they were going to fast-track Wonder Woman. Was another thing they were talking about fast tracking. But Supergirl, yeah, absolutely. Because that's another character I feel like they did a lot of stuff with her. A little more stuff with her in Smallville. I did like the show Supergirl. I don't think I've seen every season of that one yet though. But what I've seen of it, I thought that one was awesome. And Lisa Benoist, whoever, does a great job. But yeah, and that is coming out next year. I looked that up online earlier. Yeah, I can't wait for that to come out, and I hope that I feel like that'll be more successful than this one too. Especially if it's more of a solo-ish film than this was, which kind of not at all. But yeah, I'm looking.
I'll tell you what's interesting. So James Gunn talks about that Marvel would go ahead and greenlight movies without the scripts being completed. Yeah, he said it was a lot of that going on, and you can kind of see it with some of these projects. She-Hulk, and just the way
Where's the Blade movie? We've been waiting 6 years for that movie, and we don't even have a date for that.
You'll be waiting 6 more. But I bring it up to say that, his pace may be a little more deliberate because they are not going to rush movies. He said, and I saw this in an interview, he said the most important thing is the script, right? So they're not going to rush. So, it may be a while before you see a Justice League. It may, because right now I think he's having an issue with Batman. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what Batman he wants to release.
A lot of it's already been done.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of that's already been written, and I feel like, again, Warner, it's Warner.
Well, I'm not talking about the Batman. That's what's that universe elsewhere?
Brave and the Bold.
I'm talking. Yeah, but I don't know that Brave and the Bold is going to be the flagship Batman.
That's because there's every Batman movie that's come out is like a different adaptation of all the greatest storylines of Batman's history.
Right.
So he's having a hard time figuring out like what this movie is going to be about, and that's where he is introducing. I'm pretty sure Damian Wayne's going to be in this movie, which we've never gotten an adaptation of Damian Wayne before, and that would be interesting. So. That's he's kind of forced to be in that situation because we've gotten so many great Batman adaptations over the years.
Yeah.
But I feel like in general, though, I feel like a lot of these things have been written out in I think if all of it, obviously there might be some changes here and there, but I think it's mapped out pretty thoroughly, and I think that probably needed to have happened, and this is just my opinion, just based on Warner's experience, because clearly they were not happy with the last direction. So I would assume that somebody else coming in, we want to see where you're taking these people. That's just my assumption. So I would imagine he's got stuff pretty well mapped out for a lot of those already.
It's going to be interesting. Guys, last thing, let's talk about some character arcs. Superman Clark Kent, a fully formed hero balancing journalistic scrutiny, moral complexity, public trust. His core journey centers on choosing who defines his identity. The Kents are Krypton. That's fair. I think for him, his journey is, I think that's accurate. But I think for him, it's finding his humanity. It's I stumble, I fall, but where do I land? I have all of these powers, I have all of these abilities. Where do I land? What do I do? He's very unsure of himself at the beginning of the movie, and towards the end, he kind of says, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna fail my way to success." He doesn't say that, but that's pretty much the crux of the speech that he's making. So I thought he gave a great portrayal. I thought he was an excellent Superman. I thought he was a great Clark Kent. There is a fine balance from the wardrobe to the way he conducts himself to the interaction that he has in that 13-minute dialogue with Lois. Some of that was Clark and some of that was Superman. And I thought that was very well done. So that's my take on Clark Kent. Lois Lane, very sharp, very grounded, ethically anchored. She plays a detective, moral conscience, emotional center, exposing Luthor, rescuing Superman in equal measure. I felt like there was I felt like she had a little, again, great job. I'm not saying she didn't go do a good job, but for me at 3 months, that's just a little too much. What do the young folks say? That's a little too much sauce. She was a little too saucy for me, but that's just me. You know what I mean? Whatever. Lex
I'm
Luthor.
cringing at that. I'm cringing.
I'm trying to figure out who are the young people who say saucy.
I don't know. They say it. They say sauce.
We don't say it. We don't say it.
Who are these young people? Where are they saying it?
I need to find these people because I need to have a conversation with them.
I speak to young people. None of them have ever used saucy. I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that one, Terry.
Okay. Lex Luthor, I thought he gave a great. Lex was great. Tech industrialist bent on narrative control, power lies and media manipulation, cloning technology, public paranoia, not brute force. Also very envious to the core. And they really played the whole maniacal, eccentric billionaire part. They really did. I mean, when he says, well, those people can die. Okay, whatever. They don't like me, they can die. That was eccentric billionaire at its finest. Of the Justice Gang, we know Mr. Terrific is my favorite. I thought Green Lantern. They all gave great performances. Metamorpho is very, he's very shy because his appearance is not like theirs, right? So he's very, he kind of lives in his own world. But I thought they all did a great job of portraying the characters. I just thought Mr. Terrific was the star of the show. Crypto the dog, hey man, I mean, like y'all said at the beginning of the movie, this is exactly how a dog would act. So, and condolences to you both. But yeah, Dave, any thoughts on this? Character arcs?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm okay with all of this she got there. I think you're a little hard on Lois though. I think that she was probably the most on point Lois of the ones that we've seen in live action so far. I don't think she was too sharp with them. Because
you don't think she was too saucy?
Yeah, because like your fictional kids say, she was not saucy. No, she was not saucy at all. She was just.
I'm gonna clip that, Dave. I'm just so you know, I'm gonna clip that. I'm so gonna clip that. All right.
She was just playing devil's advocate in that, and that was probably one of the high points of that movie because there was just such good dialogue between the two. Really liked that. I liked both, but again, that felt rushed. Like, oh, everything's good now. I love you. It just some of that felt rushed, but I did like the back and forth with the two of them in general, especially with that dialogue. Luthor, we'll see if he ends up in like Arkham Asylum or whatever. See if he comes back at all. But I thought they did a great job with his character. The Justice Gang, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where that's going to go or how they incorporate them into some of these other shows and movies and stuff like that. And Crypto too. I hope that we see a lot of Crypto in Supergirl, but I hope not like to the degree that we did in this one. Like I do want it to be more of an actual Supergirl movie when that comes out. I would like to see that. But yeah, the dog, I think this is because we don't have a lot, probably the best iteration of the dog in this movie and more true to life and everything. So yeah, that was awesome.
That's fair. Jordan?
I will say, if you added 10-15 minutes of crypto content, I'm saying crypto as if it's like cryptocurrency.
Right?
If you added like 10-15 minutes of crypto content for this movie, and you change the title to Superman and Crypto, I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. Because I mean, he was important for the story. He was important for the beginning and the end, and he was there when he was in Kansas. He was flying around cows and stuff. But if you added that content, that 10-15 minutes of Crypto, you definitely could rename this whole movie because of how important he was for Superman. I mean, he got him to his home, and now it's in the South Pole for this movie, which was interesting. I mean, you have him at the end playing fetch. You have him attacking Lex Luthor. You have him getting caught. You have that redemption arc, like Dave, you were saying. I mean, you probably could have renamed this to Superman and Crypto, and honestly, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Especially, I love the end credit scene. It doesn't add much, but seeing Superman holding Crypto, looking at Earth, is just a awesome, visually, just an amazing scene right there.
Yeah.
And I do agree. You're a little harsh on Miss Saucy Lois Lane, but
I love it.
Hashtag Miss Saucy.
Miss Saucy. But yeah, because I loved her Lois Lane. I love seeing David Cornswet as Superman. I do want to see more Clark Kent. That was my main issue with Man of Steel, is we didn't get much Clark Kent content, and that's kind of that was one of my major issues of this movie, was we didn't get a lot of Clark Kent, and that was just those two movies. And I want to see that balance. That was something that the original Superman did very well.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, when James Gunn was looking for people to be Superman, he was looking at the movie Pearl, right around the time that I watched it for the first time, and I mean, I thought he was great in that movie. It's a horror movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It's one of my favorite movies of the 2020s. And it does a great job. And as soon as he was cast as Superman, I was like, yeah, I totally get it. Like, James Gunn, after seeing that movie, he called Warner Brothers and was like, whoever that guy is, I want to contact him about Superman. So I completely get it. And Lex Luthor, well done job for Nicholas Hoult. I can't wait to see what more we get out of him. I want to see how his character develops over future movies, whether we get the Legion of Doom or not. And then the Justice Gang, I think this is a great start for a lot of characters. I think this is a great way of building future movies with the characters we got for the Justice Gang.
That's awesome, man. One last thing, and I just thought it was funny, so I'm going to share it. Jordan, if you and I were working together and I help you, I don't know, put the Earth back together, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In this scenario, you're Mr. Terrific. I'm Mr. Terrific, and you're Superman. And you said to me, it's off an inch.
I would, too. I would be that person.
I'm gonna cuss you out. I'm just gonna let you know you're gonna get cussed out. You're going. I'm gonna let, because I would be so pissed off. Right? They're standing there. They're looking at the Earth was just separated like Moses parted the Red Sea, and he puts it back together. And Jordan, as my father would say, has the unmitigated gall, the audacity even to comment, "Oh, it's off." And I would cuss you out. I would
do it. I would do it too.
It would go down. We go.
And speaking of the comparisons, really quick, because we were comparing this to Man of Steel and everything. So, do you all know the numbers? Like the actual, like the opening weekend numbers for both, and all of that?
I know Man of Steel did make more. There's a lot of people saying that Superman made more, but I do know Man of Steel ended up making more.
Yeah, especially if you adjust for inflation, and then it depends on the type of reporting that you do and all that. Yeah, if you adjust for inflation, it's not even close.
Oh,
But just in the sheer number of tickets. So if anybody out there who listens or comes across this at any point is wondering who liked what more, so there were 14.3 million tickets that were sold for Man of Steel opening weekend. 10.7 million for Superman. So that's over 3.5 million more people that went to see Man of Steel, and that's 12 years ago. So just kind of put that into perspective.
Yeah.
So there you go. Just wanted to throw that in there. Nice little jab.
Nice.
So what? So what score? What score are you giving it, Terry?
You know what? I think I'm trying to find. See, I just had up. I think this is it. Yeah, that's it. So I just had up the numbers since he, was talking about it. I just had up the numbers. So the movie Superman also referred to Man of Steel in some reports. Blah, 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 blah. 122 million in the United States and Canada. Globally, it grossed 217 million on the first weekend. So yeah, because it did.
There's other sites. There's other sites that report that as being higher because they say that Superman included the previews, like the showings before Friday, were included in their opening weekend, whereas they were not in the 116 or whatever it was for Man of Steel. Whether or not that's true, I mean, regardless, the ticket sales, I feel kind of, speak for themselves and stuff. But I'm just glad it's successful enough to where they're going to tell more stories.
Yeah.
And what that number also includes is I saw it on a Tuesday because I had access. I have Amazon Prime.
Right.
So I had an opportunity to see that. So that also included those numbers all the way to Tuesday.
That I didn't know. I thought they were only including the Thursday previews.
No, even Tuesday. So all of those numbers. So it's basically like a week's worth, almost a week's worth of numbers that they
for opening weekend.
And
makes sense.
One thing I do want to point out too is the box office updated the number for Superman globally, internationally. So it was originally a lot higher, but it dropped to like less than 100 million.
Yeah, I know it was under 100. Yeah, because he said that stuff before it was released. I think that impacted it.
Yeah. And I don't think this movie, because Man of Steel is so realistic, you're going to see a lot of countries willing to watch that versus the goofiness with certain countries. Like I've seen a man from China had said the reason why it's just not doing well out here, even though he likes Superman, it's not doing well there, is because of the goofiness and the comic bookiness that we were saying is something that's just not frowned upon in that culture, and that's how it is in a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
But I mean, every movie has its flaws in every culture, so I mean, you could point at like the Dora the Explorer movie and say like it was satanic stuff. So
damn, I did not expect you to say, wow. No way.
I'm just
she's just too saucy for some cultures.
Oh, that was way too saucy. That was way too saucy. I did not. Of the 58 million things you could say, that was 58 million and one. In no way did I associate Dora the Explorer and satanic cults together. Like, wow. Okay. Wow. I'm tripping. What did I give it? I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. I did like it. There's certain things about it, I could have done without, but ultimately, if we're looking at the total picture and the total movie and the way I felt getting up, leaving that theater, because I didn't watch Man of Steel before I watched it, I'm gonna give it an 8. Just my thoughts. I'm guessing, Jordan, I'm gonna guess, because we've done about 10 movies now. I'm gonna guess you're gonna give this about a 7.5, but I could be wrong. So, hey, relieve me of the suspense. What are you giving this movie, Jordan?
So it's funny. After I gave it this rating, all of the movie people that I watch gave it the exact same rating as me. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Like I'm able to flow between the realism and comic bookiness. It's my third favorite Superman movie, behind Man of Steel's a 9.5 out of 10 for me. I rewatch that every single year. I love that movie so much, and I will defend that movie for the rest of my life. I give the original Superman movie is a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it is a classic, and I think it did so much for the comic book genre. I enjoyed it, and I think this movie, a lot of people over the course of like the MCU and all these Marvel movies that have come out say that like we need more comic booky movies. Like I'm going to continue. That's going to be the new word that we're going to use every single week is comic booky or comic bookiness.
How about saucy comic bookiness?
Saucy comic bookiness.
Do a combo. Yeah. Okay.
Which is basically Catwoman with Halle Berry is the sauciness. But yeah, I love this. I love this movie. It hit all the emotional impacts that I wanted it to have. I think it could have been better. Like I was really comparing this to The Batman with Robert Pattinson. And I gave that movie a 9 out of 10. But I also think there was more intrigue for me with the Batman than there was in this movie. Yeah. And that was the really heavy hitter and the difference between an 8.5 out of 10 for me and a 9. But otherwise, I love this movie. In fact, I gave Iron Man also an 8.5. So starting off a universe with an 8.5, that's we got a good track record of that. So I can't wait to see what comes after this.
A harbinger of good things to come is what you're saying. All right, Dave, gotta know, what are you giving it?
Yeah, probably 7.5. 7.5. I thought it was good. Like it was a good solid beginning, and it did well enough, thankfully, to where we're gonna get more out of it. I just hope that they do better. I just feel like some of it was rushed, and there was a lot of it was definitely overwritten with the monologue at the end. I think there was like good stuff within it to where certain things they just didn't have to do, and certain things it's like you didn't have to do that to get here. Like if you wanted him disliked, you didn't have to do this with the parental quote. You could have done it. Like there were just things that I feel like could have done better, and there would have been better storytelling behind it to where I would have rated it higher. But I thought it was good. Like I said, I didn't dislike it. I feel like they can only go up from here. That's not a bad thing, but I mean, I think they laid a foundation well enough to where like they clearly didn't set the expectation too high to where anything's going to suffer in comparison. I think they're going to do a lot better numbers with the other stuff, and I'm really looking forward to Supergirl. I think that's going to be successful, but I'd say 7.5 out of 10 for this one.
That is fair. That is fair. Well, gentlemen, I look, we've been here 3 hours. I have enjoyed this. This 3 hours has flown by. Jordan, guess what we got next week, buddy?
We got Fantastic Four. I can't wait.
Fantastic Four, man. Dave, let me ask you this question: Are you able to come back and join us next week, or like what's your?
I guess I'll have to see Fantastic Four.
I guess you'll have to see Fantastic Four, man. And hey, and I'm not gonna crack that joke again. Anyway, Jordan, tell these folks where they can find you.
You can find me at Ultegacy, ULTEGACY. We do all things sports content. None of it's saucy, so you're fine.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah.
It's just sauceless.
We are completely sauceless.
I'm gonna make a meme out of both of y'all. I'm just letting you know what's going on. It's gonna be saucy on repeat. I'm just letting you know what's coming. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, you can find sports content over there. And then me and Terry do this comic book movies. I mean, all movies in general. I mean, at one point, I was supposed to be on the show for Sinners. I was caught up, but yeah, we do all movies every Saturday, and yeah, this is fun.
Except for Final Destination, because that scares the shit out of me, and I'm not going to do it. And, you know, that's in my contract, because that is definitely not saucy. So
if this video gets 500 likes, we're doing Final Destination, the entire franchise.
Let me tell you something. Jordan, I love you, brother. You will never see me again in your life.
Hey, Jordan, I'm gonna go out to Atlanta again. I'm gonna get his ass to watch him.
Shit. You're gonna have to drug me. Y'all don't know what that movie did to me, man. Y'all did I did not take a bath for a week after that bathroom scene. Okay, because I'd be imagining stuff, and I'm not even gonna tell you what went down when that chick stepped off the first one and got liquefied and got hit by that. But Lord Jesus,
I mean, when I'm on an escalator with anyone I know, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, did you see that Final Destination movie?" Every single time, and immediately, my mom knows I do it, and she doesn't like those movies either. And I'm like, "Hey, you remember that Final Destination movie?" And she immediately starts running down the escalator.
Amen.
To get away from it.
Amen. I'm not even trying to do it, bro. Let me tell you something. I don't even, when I see a truck with timber, I go the other way. I don't even play around. You're not going to get me caught up in that. Absolutely not. You are not going to do it, buddy. It is just not going to happen, bro. But that shower scene where you can't even wash your butt. You in the shower and bruh, I did not bathe for a week. My wife was like, "Come on, T-Will. Come on now. Come on. We gotta work this out. I don't know what you did, but you don't need to see that movie again." Cause I was like, "No, Kim, they're not gonna get me. They are not gonna get me." Cause I get paranoid. I whatever. I got a vivid imagination and I see shit long after. Like the cousin that I talked to tonight, she introduced me to The Exorcist and she scared me so bad, right? I'm watching The Exorcist. I gotta be 8 years old. She's 7. Her parents let her watch whatever she wanted to. My parents wouldn't even let me watch Good Times. So I'm seeing The Exorcist for the first time in my life. And when her head turned around, Lord Jesus. That's all I'm gonna say. Lord Jesus. And what she did, because she's always commencing endevilment, is she waited till I went to sleep. And she snuck in my room and scared the piss out of me, literally. I will never forgive her for that because I pissed all over myself because she scared me that bad. It was awful. I don't even watch The Exorcist to this day. I don't even watch devil movies because of that. Because it was such an experience. Like I don't, and you know that stuff is true. Amityville Horror, that really happened. Salem's Lot, hey man, hey, to each his own. I'm not doing it. Anyway, guys, Jordan, thank you for joining me, brother. As always, we got to come back next week. Dave, you got to come back. We do Fantastic Four. This will be fun. I'm not going to say saucy again.
That's good because the kids don't say it either.
Yes, they do.
None of them do this.
I'm gonna find a kid who says it. I am, and I'm gonna hit both of you up. I'm telling you.
Shelby, Gavin, do y'all say this shit? Do y'all be saying this shit?
Sauce Gardner does not count.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes,
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. Whatever. Whatever. Guys, everybody in the chat who joined us, thank you. We appreciate it. Look, we do this because we have a love for it. And it is so much fun, but we couldn't do it without you. So everybody who joined from the bottom of our very hearts, we thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be with us. We thank you. Jordan, Dave, thank you for joining me. I want to thank God. Would not be here without him. Thank you for waking me up. Thanking you for giving me the ability to do this. Last but not least, thank you to Eric Parker and Jack Spade, who gave me my start in this business. We will see you next weekend. You guys have an amazing week. And we are out of here because we are saucy. Hey, we just had such an amazing time. What a show. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it. But either way, how are you going to do that and not hit like, share, subscribe? I mean, we were having so much fun. We can come back and do it again. Go ahead and hit like, share, and subscribe. For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Say again, it's For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Or grab the link below. For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Go ahead and click like, share, and subscribe. And guess what? You can come back to the next show or the show after that, or maybe even the show after that. But if you don't like, share, and subscribe, there could be shows that come out that are great that you just miss. And you don't want to do that, do you? We had such a great time. Come on. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching our show. And we can't wait to see you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We thank God for you and we appreciate you. Hit the like, share, subscribe. Until next time.